Yep. Okay,
Cool.
good. Because it's quarter after.
I'll see you guys in the chat. Thanks for letting me hang out. Bye.
All right, get on in here. What the fuck's your name?
Oh, are we starting now?
Yeah, we already fucking started.
Are we live?
We've been started for 6 minutes already. Hey, River 2, welcome to the chat. Glad to see you.
Now we can actually use the Chiron since we are who we say we are.
Yes, there we go. I guess for people who just got in here, in case you missed it, my name's Dandr0id.
And I'm Jack McBastard.
And this is Digital Fiasco Live for another lovely Monday night.
Starting for the very first time now, 15 minutes into the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that like a specialty or something like that?
Oh,
It's
yes.
like you got a special discount today of 15 minutes off.
Oh, we got a special discount today, all right. Or, you know, it was 100% off in this case, not having our aggressively unpaid intern. So we are, of course, running discount-free, so no discount, no problem this week. And we are going to be talking about games. So,
I would hope so.
Dandr0id,
Yes.
what are you playing this week?
Careful. Don't spill it on your phone. Yeah, we got to see a bit more of Kingdom Hearts 3. Not much. I was like,
good coffee.
That's the whole thing is I'm still trying to stay away from any kind of spoilers and stuff, and I'm starting to see some pictures like leak out online. I'm like, oh, don't look at it. Don't even like go near it.
It's always dangerous at some point.
So
you know?
definitely got to speed up on that and get some of that stuff done. But outside of that, it was very much a demo-filled weekend.
Apparently, I just got really ugly. I'm not sure how.
I think he was comparing you to the lovely J.
Oh,
Tanuki, so.
I gotcha.
Because you was sitting in your spot.
Well, wait. Okay, I'm confused, but yes.
Oh, shit, Rurutu, you spoiled the whole thing. A bunch of things happened, and then you win the game.
Oh, well, I didn't know you could win the game.
Wait, are you talking about Kingdom Hearts 3, or are you talking about NHL 2019?
Did I miss something where we started talking about EA Sports?
No, not at all.
Because it's in the game.
Does it have loot boxes, though? Because if it doesn't have loot boxes, I don't want to play it.
Go away, Jack. Well, sorry. Till J. Tanuki starts doing her own channel on our stream, she's unfortunately just a stand-in.
All right. Anyways, like I was saying, there was Kingdom Hearts 3 earlier in the week. Got to get back into that. But my weekend was full of new demo goodness. So
tell you what, Cash Family, you want to subscribe at the highest tier, the $25. I'll let Jake Tanuki read my notes, and I'll fuck off for a night. I think that's worth it. I think that's a good deal.
Yeah, I don't think it equates to Fiasco coins at that point. So.
I don't think so. No. Not that you could really use Fiasco coins for anything now other than... why would you play that controller roulette that doesn't happen anymore? So we're gonna have to retool the whole. We're still working out the Fiasco coin economy.
Yeah,
much like Anthem.
It's like Bitcoin.
That's right.
It'll never settle for one thing. It'll constantly change.
Except it's still worth something. Anyway.
Yeah. So like I was saying, demo-filled weekend because it just kind of all randomly kind of clashed together. So. First one on the docket was I got to play the Tetris Effect.
Tetris Effect, because they
had like a free weekend for the game. And I'd heard from the PSU guys that it was just
really
this
good.
amazing game. Plus, I am a huge fan of Tetris, so I was like, okay, well, that's win-win. So I downloaded that one, took a look at it, and I don't know how they do it, but they made Tetris not only more fun to play, but just genuinely enjoyable to look at and to hear at the same time.
Definitely.
Because before it was like, you know, I love me some original Tetris on Nintendo, like the classic fucking tune and everything. Like that's all I needed to play.
Right.
But with Tetris Effect, it's like on a whole other level. I don't know if you've personally played it yet.
Yeah.
But the way that they blend all of the movement of the pieces, the drops of the pieces, the music and the stage, the line notes when you clear a line or you clear Tetris or whatever, like. It is absolutely amazing how they just blended everything almost seamlessly together. Like you are making music while you're playing Tetris, and they did such a spectacular job on that. And then just the visuals too are just gorgeous to look at.
I only wish they would have announced it earlier, so we could have like warned people ahead of time to go play it.
Oh,
this
absolutely,
weekend.
Yeah. I would have been like, hey, fuck, this weekend, go download this. You need to play it.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely amazing. Like I definitely want to pick that one up now because again, it's always tricky. Like even though I'm a Tetris fan. Every time a new Tetris thing comes out, you're like, okay, what's their gimmick this time? They obviously have to do something different to sell me Tetris again.
Sure.
this one they are going to sell me Tetris again, definitely, because it's absolutely amazing.
The next one is going to be the Tetris Paradox, and it's going to go straight to Netflix. And everyone's just going to go,
just going to start smashing the Cloverfield monster with Tetrominos and...
I mean, save that idea for our next to steal this idea, I think. Because I'd play that game.
But anyways, yeah, so that was the first demo. Had a ton of fun with that one. Yeah, they did an amazing job, and I can't believe that they pulled that one off like that well. But,
Good.
Yeah, so that was really cool. And next one on the docket was Devil May Cry 5 demo.
Played the demo?
Yeah, and...
Is it available in North America now? Because I played the UK
absolutely.
one.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I downloaded it on Saturday morning.
Okay.
And, again, pretty much exactly what I expected. If I gave it a rating, like, right off the bat, I would give it, like, a solid, like, 7 out of 10 so far.
Yeah.
Just because, you know... obviously, it looks like visually it's beautiful because it's on, like, you know, the newest gen stuff and everything. It looks like a proper Devil May Cry game, and honestly, I guess because it was a demo, it felt like a Devil May Cry game, but nothing outside the realm of that. It really feels like they didn't change too much. Outside of the fact that when you play as Nero, you have your devil, not trigger, devil.
Isn't it Devil Trigger?
No, that's when Dante like goes devil. That's Devil Bringer, I think, or something like that.
I don't remember.
Basically, his new like robot fist that got showed off in all the trailers and everything like that. That adds a little more zest to the combat because not only do you have a robot hand that can do like different functions, each one of those functions is actually tied to a different type of arm. So it's almost like you have ammunition for your arm, but your arm is your ammunition. So you're loaded up with
that's heavy, man.
like 4 different types of each arm.
Sure.
So you can use it to use a small attack, or you can charge it up and use it, and it actually blows off that charge, and
thus disarming him.
That arm is gone, and it's fucked up because if you go through all that ammunition. You're literally running around and your right arm's gone. Like, you literally just have a nub on your elbow and until you pick up another one.
Literally disarmed.
Yeah.
But the Cash family, the beer is Puppers, is the official beer of Letterkenny.
Oh, yes.
You
said you had to import it, though?
Yes.
Even though we're in Canada?
Currently it's only available in Ontario, but as soon as it comes into stock at the Liquor Commission, it goes out immediately, and they ship it like people in the States and across the seas,
wait, it's in Ontario.
Ontario only. It is a Ontario microbrew. But they're working on it. It's like Moosehead used to be only available in like Nova Scotia, and then eventually went cross Canada.
Doesn't Letterkenny take place in Alberta?
No, it's in Ontario.
Oh, I thought it took place in Alberta.
It's a fake town, but it's like...
Oh, I knew that, but I thought it was a fake town in Alberta.
No, well, listen to the accent, man. Nobody in Alberta talks like that.
Well, because again, I don't really watch the show. It's just a bunch of hicks driving their pickup trucks around.
It's a lot more than that. You really should.
Anyways,
all the Americans out there, you can watch Letterkenny on Hulu now, so go do that.
Yeah, so basically, I dove in, died a few times, because it's a Devil May Cry game, and it will fucking murder you if you don't get your combos right.
Yep.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I can see where they're going with it. It's one of those games that I feel like the demo really wouldn't do it justice, so I enjoyed my time with it, but it felt like just another Devil May Cry title, whereas when I get my hands on the full game, I'm probably going to like get into it and be like, oh yeah, this is so much more than what the demo showed off.
Right.
Especially because I guess you ultimately play as like 3 or 4 different characters throughout the whole game, and of course they're all going to have like different attacks and all that kind of stuff. You have Nero, you have Dante, there's a new chick, I can't remember, she looks like really, or no, it's a guy that looks like a chick, because he's all goth looking, and he has like an emo haircut and shit like that, and he's wearing all black, and he has a sword.
Okay, that's maybe not the one I saw, because there was like that one woman in the trailer, like the original EA trailer. Where
that's
she was
Nico.
Like,
that's your buddy that drives the van. That's where you do all your gunsmithing and upgrading and stuff like that.
He's the Drebin. Essentially,
she's the Drebin.
Oh, she's the Drebin.
Yeah.
Well, you said before. I didn't want to make any assumptions.
No. It's yeah, and then I don't think Virgil.
And Puppers is a lager. It's a little bit hoppy. It's good.
But anyways, yeah. So that one was a lot of fun. Yeah, and the game fucking comes out this Friday, so I'm sure it'll be awesome when it comes out, because it seems like a lot of people are enjoying it. It's checking through some comments and stuff. I try not to deep dive into that too much, because that fandom is pure toxicity when it comes to Devil May Cry and DMC and them clashing over it and whatnot. So Yeah, I try not to wade too much into that, but it sounds like a lot of people are happy with this because it's more a classic like return to the actual Devil May Cry side of things instead of the DMC side of it.
And Maimkill, did you just assume they had a gender? How very excluding of you. Don't assume that their gender is, you know, fixed and non-trinary something. I don't even want to. Oh, you're saying there's only two sexes? Anyway,
you're saying outside of that.
We're not even going there.
Nope.
No. That is like religion, politics. Although I did talk about politics and religion on the last night talk with Jack McBastard. Well, it was Tron's fault. We went off on the whole Trump thing.
Yeah, let's throw him under the bus.
Well, because I don't talk, like, it was my chance to talk about American politics with an actual American.
Yeah.
And actually a Republican, not a Trump supporter, but a guy, you know, everything that Republicans used to stand for. So it was interesting. It was a good time.
It's a different take on it, definitely.
It is. You know, well, someone who actually that it directly affects.
Yeah.
So I wonder how his tax return's doing this year.
Don't ask.
I'm afraid to know. Anyway.
Yeah, but anyways, and then outside of that, the new hotness that everyone is talking about right now, I believe has 25 million concurrent players or
something
whatever.
Like that. Yep.
Apex.
Well, not 25 million concurrent, because that's insane.
Well, that's like everyone played it this weekend.
Yeah, but not playing simultaneously.
Unique players.
Yes.
2 million concurrent.
Okay,
Yes.
well there you go.
That's more like it.
Unique players.
Yes.
25 unique 25 million unique players and 2 million concurrent.
Here's a weird thing about this week's news. Like, about half of it by volume is EA related, which is why that's the title of the stream.
They are one of the, you know, the kings of everything.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised.
It touches on a lot of stuff because, you know, we had a lot of the financial results coming in. A bunch of them had their investor calls after, you know, Q4 closed out and they ran all their
and good evening, Channel 84
reports.
Network. Welcome to the chat.
Hello, Channel 84 Network.
Just in time for the top of the show here.
That name sounds familiar.
I don't know.
I believe
they might introduce themselves. I don't know.
I think I may have seen a video by them on set up for a Twitch stream, if I'm not mistaken. It could be someone else, but if it isn't, you know, if it is, thank you.
Either way.
If not, welcome to the stream.
Yep.
You've got a very interesting name. Oh, speaking of which, I need to see our viewfinder. There we go.
But yeah, so Apex.
Yes.
Everyone and their fucking dog is playing it this weekend. And did you get to dive in at all?
I was doing other things, man.
Okay.
And
that's fine. Again, it's one of those things. Like, it is a bit polarizing still because obviously Battle Royale is one of those kind of love-hate relationships. Basically, within the past year, we've seen a lot of these people jump on the bandwagon of like, hey, you remember that game that we brought out last year? Well, we're going to bring out a refreshed version this year, and it's going to have Battle Royale, so everyone's going to love it. And the problem is that everyone dove in and made the exact same fucking game. The nice part about Apex Legends is that they didn't make the same fucking game. So instead of it just being every man for himself, 100-person, whatever, bullshit, this one is a lot of fun because they really, really mix it up.
Yeah.
So they have a very full, very interactive map with like a lot of shit going on in it. It's a 60-person match, and everyone is signed up in 3-person teams. So that already speaks more to me than the like every man for himself.
You know what EA could do if they, you know, had a bunch of money they wanted to throw away? They could make a great.
I don't know. I hear they keep paying their CEO like $15 million bonus every year.
It's not like Bobby Kotick money, but I mean, still, they could make a great battle royale game leveraging an existing IP that they have that they're doing fuck all with. If they made, and I mean, unfortunately, there isn't as much fan base for a space flight simulator game, but a Wing Commander battle royale game where literally you had a flotilla on either side. And you played like you had like battle groups and squads, or like squadrons in space, and it's like until the last death.
Hey, EA, steal this idea.
I mean, it's their fucking idea. But
no, the good part is that that's why this is such a great step forward. This is a step in the right direction. So this is taking the concept of battle royale, but switching it up and mixing things a little bit, and making people realize that a battle royale doesn't need to be one thing. It can be the idea of that thing, but just changed in many, many different ways. So eventually, you could work your way into, like, let's have a thing that looks like fucking Twisted Metal, but it's Battle Royale, and you have teams of 5 or something like that. Like, it'll slowly morph into those things, so you may get something that feels like a Wing Commander game. Maybe not specifically a Wing Commander game, but it's very possible. Because, again, you said, hey, if only they had a license and a bunch of money to make something on a beloved thing. the Apex Legends is basically Titanfall,
Right.
without the robots.
Well, that's just it, because that technically would be a battle royale game, but in reality would just be a big Wing Commander skirmish, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, exactly. So you never know what
Yeah.
it'll come down to, because they could easily start
Yeah.
morphing it into stuff like
Maim,
that.
Kill, Destroy brings up something that we actually talked about yesterday. I was on the PlayStation Unchained podcast for PSU. We did that yesterday, so I don't know if that's up yet on PSU.com, but really great time I had with those guys. Maim, Kill, Destroy mentioned the three-man teams make me spend a lot of time yelling at my TV. Frankly, I think that is to gut the fan base of Destiny, who has largely three-man and six-man based units or squads that can easily just drag and drop over into Apex Legends.
Yeah, and then actually something that me and Maimkill were talking about this weekend, this is another reason why it kind of like caught me, unlike a lot of the other Battle Royale ones did, is it feels a little more like Overwatch, because instead of just having a generic hero that you have to just run and find a gun and that's it, it's like Overwatch. You have to, like, you kind of try to balance your team because they all have special abilities, and like one guy can fire a zipline that the rest of the team can use. One of them is a medic. Another one's like a heavy tank that can like throw down an energy shield. Like you get these different abilities.
Yes.
Rather than it being like a PUBG or Fortnite where here's all the weapons and items on the map, every man for himself kind of situation.
Kind of a different sort of game, yeah.
And
it's
I
like
like,
a hero
but again,
based.
I like how they morphed it like that.
Yeah.
And they're doing the same thing, kind of like what a lot of MOBAs do, is that they're starting with 8 characters, but every month, I believe they're shooting for, they're going to introduce a new character into it.
Sure.
So you're eventually going to start building out that roster and really giving some people some choices in how they play the game.
Sure, some really solid units.
Is that what you're looking for?
Well, I just wanted to give the Cash family a nice chuckle there, because apparently he was finding it amusing. We use the term unit. So
I mean, player, whatever character.
Yeah, well, you got to have a lot of player engagement when you're
Unit.
talking about your solid units. Yeah.
But anyways, being a fan of Titanfall 2, this game felt awesome to dive into because they kept that core, really fast frenetic kind of gameplay, but it doesn't play like a pure Twitch shooter where it's just like bang bang you're dead kind of situation.
No wall running was a weird exemption.
That was the only one that I really found weird because they have the zip lines, they have the sliding, they have like all like the crazy kind of like combat sequences and stuff, but no wall running. So I feel like they're probably holding it back until they either figure out how to make it usable yet fair, or they had to pull it back because they had to get it out the door, and then maybe they're going to introduce it to make sure that it works on every angle of the map.
They had 2 games to work it out already, and it was very much emblematic of like the Titanfall experience.
They weren't building a map that held 60 players at the same time.
Okay,
that
that's
was
fair.
Gigantic. So I'm really hoping they add it because that was one of my favorite aspects, was doing the wall running, the boosting, and like sliding across the ground, like the free flow, like the parkour, like gun gameplay in that was second to none, basically. And I really hope that they add that back in, or have another map where it's more functional, or something like that.
I don't know.
But either way, I mean, for first out the gate, that, you know, kind of, it got announced like 4 days before it fucking came out, and it ended up being this great, especially for a free-to-play game.
Right.
I'm in love with it. They did such a good job of it.
Yep, and
those guys at Respawn, they do a hell of a job.
Well, you know, rumor has it they know a thing or two about making games.
Yeah, but it's nice to see that after, you know, Titanfall 2 didn't do too hot, and EA's been kind of ragging on him and stuff, that they didn't like lose their passion for making something like that.
Sure. And one thing we should mention now at this point is that EA is in no way a sponsor, which you can probably tell by the title of the stream down below. But, I mean, that's coming from a direct quote, so I'm not slagging EA. They still make, or made, one of my favorite franchises of all times, Dead Space.
Well, and I mean, that's what it comes down to ultimately. Like,
Mass Effect,
we joke around, we rag on them, we talk about loot boxes and say hashtag fuck EA and all that kind of stuff like that. But honestly, when you think back, they have made some great things. It's just, it's unfortunate the direction that they've headed in with a lot of it.
I still buy Dragon Age. I still bought Titanfall 2. I'm probably going to play Apex Legends at least to try it.
And if we do get a fully fledged Titanfall 3 later this year, as they're quoting, then I'm all in on that one.
We'll see.
And if they make another good Need for Speed game, I'll buy it.
Well, that's where you lose me.
It's been a couple years.
That said, if they made another Burnout game.
That too. I mean, or just, you know, Criterion could go and do it themselves. And
Criterion needs to make actually some X-Wing VR missions. Really.
All right. Well, anyways, so
Anyway.
that was my demo-filled weekend, and I will be getting back to Apex
Sure.
soon enough. What did you play?
We don't have time to talk about what I've played. You took it all up with Apex stuff. I've been playing. I played a couple things this week that I can't talk about until later in the week. Of course, we'll talk about the Triple D and what's coming out this week. There's a really goddamn big week for releases.
I think you can say what you played. You just can't talk about them.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
They come out this week.
That is fair. I'm playing Far Cry New Dawn, and I'm playing Metro.
Yeah, so like some heavy hitters.
Yeah, and I mean this week is that like 3 or 4 big games come out on Friday this week.
It's so weird. I was looking at the Triple D this week, and it was just like, why is everything coming out on Friday this week instead of Tuesday?
I mean, I don't understand that. Like EA, at the very least, if everything's coming out on Friday, some of them could like squeak back to Tuesday, get a couple days.
Throw it in on a Thursday for fuck's sake.
or even still.
There's other days of the week, people.
Yeah, but no, this is like the worst week of November for releases.
Yeah,
and to see this in January or I guess early February now is unusual. Like this is like that week that Horizon came out, I think the same week as Zelda.
Yeah.
And it's like just a terrible week for picking what you're going to do. So anyway, so I can't talk about either of those yet because I can't until like the day before. So the 14th, I think.
There you go. Jack McBastard's official review of Metro Exodus and Far Cry New Dawn. I'm playing them.
Yes. These are games.
They're games and I'm playing them.
Correct. But yeah, I'll talk about those later. Doing a bunch of game guides for Far Cry and for Metro on powerpicks.com.
Cool.
So those will come up later in the week. It's Valentine's Day present to all of us. Yes. That'll be the ASMR night talk with Jack McBastard that night, I think. But yeah, so what I will talk about, though, is that as of today, the 11th, I can talk about a game that comes out tomorrow that I talked about a couple weeks ago called Cornarium.
Yeah.
Which is a H.P. Lovecraft-themed walking simulator adventure game.
Creepy dude right there.
It is, yeah. It's definitely very atmospheric. The problem is that it is largely a walking simulator, so you're really in no danger. This isn't like Fatal Frame.
Yeah.
There's no worry that suddenly you're just going to get wrecked or murked when you turn around and the big ghost in your face and, Lisa's not going to drop from the ceiling and like eat your face, and then you're going to be in the room with the fetus in a bag talking to you like, was it that Mr. Head guy from The Max?
Oh,
that's what I always think about when I think about that paper bag talking in the corner.
Oh god,
Mr. Gone. That's what it was. The head in the corner, slowly smelling more and more. Anyway, so it is a very atmospheric game. It is a walking simulator. It's a $20 game. If you like walking simulators, if you like H.P. Lovecraft, it's good. It's got some interesting puzzles in it. There was one in particular where how to describe it? There's a few where you have to look at runes and placement, and it's impossible to describe.
As long as they don't go full mist on you, then.
Well, it's like these days the walking simulator is a mist game essentially.
The problem we always had with Myst back in the day, anyone that played it, they'll know, is that some of the puzzles were horrendously cryptic.
I mean, as you went for like the first game, I figured out on my own. Riven definitely had some issues with.
Riven was just like broken.
Yeah, well, I mean, but then again, that was also before the internet was a thing.
Well,
either,
no, that's my point though. Is that I can take a horrendously broken game,
right,
if the answers are on the internet. But Myst back in the day, you didn't fucking have the internet. If you were stuck, that was it.
There was one. Okay, there's one puzzle in Cornarium where you have this. There was this gem that you find, and it becomes energized through these weird eldritch runes on these totems. So it becomes energized, and it causes these vines, these bizarre, like, hidden world vines to peel back away from the light that it carried, and it only glowed for so long.
Okay.
And there was one particular scenario, like up until this point, it announced that you had to place it on this platform or this holder for it to cause these vines to move away, but it doesn't really teach you that you can use it while it's in your hand.
Oh, okay.
So at one point there was a puzzle that I couldn't figure out because you had to grab it in your hand and carry it with you and like hold it out, and it would cause the vines to move back. Whereas this is like the first time this occurred, and it didn't like take you through that.
It sounds like the type of thing that they should have had that slow introduction in the game where you would naturally hold it and give it some vines that aren't technically in your way, but you would see them peeling away from you as you approach them. Then you would understand that, oh, hey, this thing, those things don't like this light source or whatever.
So I ended up, like, I put it in this holder, and then I pulled it out because I needed it in the room beyond.
Yeah.
But while it was in the holder, it was like a static position. So I grabbed it, and I ran before it, like, grew back, and then I noticed that it would like it then recoiled away from me. I'm like, oh well, fuck. So then I figured that out. That took me like an hour, and I was disappointed that it was cryptic, but I mean that's the kind of thing you deal with in that kind of game. You figure it out on your own, or you go on the internet.
For the little bit of gameplay that you get out of those, that I guess it's fair enough to do something like that, because that's part of your learning process rather than the action or a bunch of other stuff like filling up that time. It's you kind of like learning the mechanics.
So you start off in the Antarctic, and you're on this like expedition, and this whole base, no one is there, and I'm immediately having thoughts of the Thing and whatnot.
Of course.
But it turns out that there is this weird like underground city. It was like one of the 5 or 6 that had been like had these weird totems and whatnot of this first civilization, and it's like straight out of Lovecraft, like all of these, you know, the gods from before times and everything else, and like the sleeper beneath the waves and all that crap. So it was interesting. It was very thematic. It was very atmospheric.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm in a place where I can appreciate adventure games anymore. Like back in the Gabriel Knight days or the Monkey Island days, I could play those, but nowadays, unless it's at the very minimum like a Telltale game that has some kind of interaction, or has a much better story, because it's a walking simulator, it's largely you and nothing else. Right. Yeah. So
there's little interaction outside of the puzzles that you're doing.
So whereas like with was it The Wolf Among Us or like the Tales from the Borderlands, for example. Yeah. Like so much atmosphere and dialogue and like storyline, rather than everything being environmental storytelling. So I like environmental storytelling fine, but I think this one was largely too sterile.
I mean, yeah, and again, it comes down to, like, there's lots of people that enjoy this. Yeah. Because, I mean, there are still companies that literally make, like, finder point-and-click games that are based on Sherlock Holmes.
Like escape room things.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff. Like, and they're almost like usually not scary. They're not very interactive. It's literally just like find this, put it here, find that, solve this puzzle. Yeah, and it's just static screens. And there's people that buy these things because somebody's making them, so people are still buying them.
The good news is that it is pretty fucked up.
Like, I would hope so. Anything Cthulhian, it's like if it's not fucked up, you already missed the shot.
Well, the whole idea is like you're going into. At the start, you're kind of going into your own mind, so you're into this world that doesn't exist. But then later on, the way they're presenting it is like you're potentially projecting yourself, like that was the goal of this project, project yourself into an alien mind.
Oh, okay.
So Conarium is literally, it's a part of the brain. I don't remember specifically what it does, but you then understand that it is like, it can be externalized and can be like used for communication where you could like inhabit someone else's mind.
Oh, okay.
And it's all messed up. So it was definitely interesting. I don't think it was the game for me. It was a solid, 7 out of 10 or so. Yeah. But for $20, I mean, it was, pretty good if you like that kind of game.
If that's your jam, yeah, it sounds like you go for it.
Yep. But yes, Far Cry and Metro, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, because
for sure.
That'll be up on Friday. So
well, why don't you tell us about it in the Triple D?
Oh, all right, there we go. I didn't know if there's anything else you played. So
well, those were pretty much the main ones. I mean, Far Cry kept me busy a lot of the time. I haven't really gotten a chance to play a lot of Metro, but I know that once I do, you're
in deep.
Yeah, having played the first two and loved the first two, Metro is going to absorb a lot of my time.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so on to the Triple D disc downloads and DLC for this week.
As Secret of Monkey Island is
the
awesome.
one that you just talked about, Canarium. That one comes out tomorrow.
It does.
We also have so the two big ones you were talking about. There's Far Cry New Dawn.
Yep.
So that one is out in digital and retail, both on Friday. We also have what was the other one? Yeah, and Metro Exodus, again, weird one, digital and retail, both out on Friday for some odd reason. JT Nuki had suggested that maybe it was before reading week, but technically if they came out yet tomorrow, they would still be out before reading week.
Yeah,
so.
I don't understand their whole... I mean, and some of these were pushed back, too, to this date, so I don't understand that.
They were obviously scoping something there. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you want the lighter side of things, if you like your kart racers and you can't wait for the new Crash Team Racing to come out, there's apparently a fun little kart racer called Meow Motors that's coming out. I believe it's out on Steam already, but it's coming out digital tomorrow. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's tiny, cutesy little cats that shoot each other with rockets in kart racing. So, but it's gotten good reviews. So, I mean, if you need something to tide you over, then that might be worth looking at. This little kind of indie gem here that I can't wait to play. We saw it, I think, at E3 last year. It's called The Liar Princess and the Blind Prince.
See, which one is that?
It looks like a gorgeous storybook setting. It's all kind of monochromatic except for like accent colors.
Okay.
And you literally play the Liar Princess, and you're leading around a little blindfolded boy, and you're going on an adventure together. But
it sounds like Ico in reverse.
Well, here it looks
Eco in reverse.
like that. But it has very much that kind of storybook look to it. And as soon as I saw this, I knew it was going to be one of those ones that was a standout game.
Interesting.
So,
we're gonna have to look into that.
So I'm really hoping it is good as it looks, because it really has its own unique art style. Looks like it's going to be an absolutely gorgeous game to play.
I have to. I'll see if. Liar Princess and the Blind Prince. I wonder if we got a code for that.
It's possible.
I'll have to look into that.
It's one of the indie ones, so we usually get those a little easier than some of the AAA titles.
We'll see.
And then one of the last big ones, again, another Friday release. We have Jump Force finally coming out for the Shonen fans out there. So if you want to beat the piss out of Naruto with Goku, fucking go for it.
Right.
You can do that right on Friday in digital or retail.
See, and I'm really curious to see how well that's going to play with all the weird like Shonen Jump franchises.
I mean, they always have a blast with it. Like, they always have fun with how crazy and ridiculous things are in those games.
Do I get to punch Light Yagami in the face?
I don't know if he's in the game, because that's the thing. They played a little.
Yeah.
They played a little bit like Smash Brothers, where they have a lot of characters in the game, but they're not all playable characters. Some of them are like support, or sometimes they'll be off to the side or something.
I can understand why you wouldn't want to have Ryuk in the game itself, but Light Yagami really needs a punch in the face.
On 40 Below Gaming, welcome to the chat, and he curls up in L's position on the chair.
Wow, 40 Below Gaming. That's a Canadian if ever you heard one. So cheers to you, sir.
But yeah, so that one comes out on Friday also. I'm kind of interested in that one just because I love the strange mix of the cast that I've seen so far, and again, it's shonen, so it's just ridiculous fun.
Yeah, I really have
even
high
though we
hopes
know
for
Goku
that.
would just kill everyone in that, basically.
Well, yeah, but then the planet will blow up, and it'll take 5 minutes, and 48 episodes later.
And then when he dies, he'll just go and he'll come back and he'll be stronger for it.
And the brain damage. Are you a Yoshi?
There you go. JT is going to look up the list for you there.
I would really like to see what the character list is. I am super curious about that. Actually, we had a guy. There's a PSU guy who was doing a review for it. I don't think.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
I don't think he can post it yet. I think it's posted. I don't know.
I would imagine it would come out this week sometime if the NDA would be up before the release.
Pretty sure it's up either Thursday or
probably
Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay, probably Thursday because it'd be the day before release.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's your Triple D as far as I see it. So do you have anything else on the list there?
No characters from Death Note.
No what?
There are no characters from Death Note.
Not playable.
Not playable.
Because
disappointing. Maybe Light Yagami will be an unplayable boss that I can punch in the face.
Ryuk is in the game.
Yes.
He's just not playable.
That's disappointing.
He's like a referee or something like that.
I understand. Light Yagami once again punched in the face. One interesting point though, there was a game that was supposed to be out next week.
Okay.
They pushed up a week.
Oh, that's a rare occasion.
Yeah. And so this company decided they're going to release their game on the same day as Far Cry New Dawn,
Oh, God.
Metro Exodus, and Jump Force.
Okay, so either it's something completely different, or they want to compete so hard that it hurts.
The answer to both of those questions is yes.
Oh, okay.
Crackdown 3
Oh, God.
is
Really?
finally coming out this Friday.
All I can imagine is, okay, imagine a clip of a bunch of WWE wrestlers in the ring, and they're all rumbling with each other, but they all have the picture of the game over their face, and all of a sudden, a wrestler comes running into the ring with Crackdown 3 stuck on his face with the steel chair and runs in and tries to hit someone, only to lift it up and get kicked in the face and knocked down out of the ring again.
I can see that being a meme. So,
Like, honestly, I dig the tenacity on that and everything, because people have been waiting for this game for fucking ever. But as we've seen so far up to this point, it doesn't seem like it's holding all the cards anymore. So it'll be interesting to see how it stacks up.
and Microsoft is taking a really weird sort of tack when it comes to marketing this game. So let's get into the news. And first item on the news is about Crackdown 3. Okay. So here's the thing. To promote Crackdown 3, Microsoft is giving away the original Crackdown to all Xbox One users.
Okay.
So it's not just the Xbox Game Pass or, people buying Crackdown. It's everyone.
Well, it's worth it then, because Crackdown 1 was awesome.
It was. I mean, it's great. And out of the two games that we've played so far, it is the better one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
And potentially still is. But here's the thing. You're giving away this game. It is the better of the two Crackdowns in existence currently. Gets people all nostalgia goggled and I want to buy Crackdown 3. The other thing is that they are giving away of course, Crackdown 3's day and date with the Xbox Game Pass.
Of course.
Everyone who has an Xbox Game Pass, that's technically someone who's going to be playing Crackdown 3.
Hey, Radio Page, welcome to the chat. Yes, free crack for kids everywhere, Microsoft probably.
Allegedly. Yeah, that's not going to get us sued at all, Radio Phage. Welcome. Welcome, sir. Ah, good old Radio Phage. So, here's the thing. One thing that kind of makes me pause.
Yeah.
Supposedly, the embargo for Crackdown 3 was supposed to end today.
Okay. So we should get a smattering of reviews today or tomorrow.
Apparently not.
Oh, yeah?
Because then later, Metacritic said that it was only going to be putting up reviews on the 14th.
Okay.
Which is, if you're counting, the day before release.
Right.
Now, I mean, it's not unusual for a game to have their reviews the day before, but usually it's in cases where you're trying to protect.
And this, again, this is not us attacking the game. It's not us attacking any allegiance or anything like that. This is hard and fast science, people.
I mean,
if a review is locked down until the day before game releases, there's a much better chance that the game might not be that good.
Okay, statistically correct, but there are those outliers like the Stick of Truth. I was so convinced the Stick of Truth, because they didn't want to have reviews till the day it was released, I canceled my pre-booking.
Yeah.
I didn't even order it. I bought it digitally the same day when all the reviews came out, and it's like, wow, this game's amazing.
Yeah.
So I ended up not getting a physical copy of that game. So that game, some of the Bethesda games, when they stopped doing that for a while, it happens.
Yeah.
Typically, though, if a game has an embargo that's like right close to the actual release, it's to protect a weak game.
Yeah.
And I can see that possibly being the case.
And like I was saying, we've seen it many, many times.
Right.
Like Vampire that came out late last year and apparently was absolute garbage.
Which game?
Yeah, see, you haven't even fucking heard of it. Vampire.
It's literally just called Vampire?
Except it's spelt with a Y instead of an I.
Oh, no, I had heard about the... Yeah, okay, yeah.
And
I mean...
apparently it's not very good, and that was one that was locked down until the day before.
Oh, it totally, like... I was aware of it, and then it's like, oh, is that out?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is never a good sign.
But again, that's just one of many, many examples. Like, it happens a lot.
Radio Phage with the classic Letterkenny boo. That's fucking 10-ply, bud. Your spare parts, dude.
You done?
See, Radio Phage likes Letterkenny.
That's great. I'm glad you're connecting with the chat so
Get this
much.
man a fucking puppers. Tell you what, if you stop bad-mouthing Letterkenny, I will give you a puppers.
I'm not bad-mouthing.
Would you
I'm
like?
just saying
Would you
I
like a
don't
puppers?
enjoy it.
Would you like a puppers?
Oh, you said it was really hoppy, right?
It's not really hoppy. It's a little hoppy.
All right, I'll give it a go.
It is pure, loyal, and golden, apparently.
Some things could be said there. Jay Tanuki, could you please grab me a beer from the fridge? Thank you.
2 puppers.
Oh, there you go.
Get
2,
this man a
apparently.
fucking puppers.
But anyways, yeah, so it's... I just find that really fucking weird. Okay, so here's the thing. If they wanted to push the game... push the release of the game forward and put it in line with these other big games that are coming out,
Right.
that seems like more of a strategy if, say, PS4 had a big title coming out that Friday. Xbox would want to push something out to say, hey,
Yeah.
you know, you might have both these systems, buy this game instead of that game that comes out. But Metro Exodus and New Dawn are coming out on everything.
Yeah, and
So-
Metro Exodus, they actually had a promotional marketing deal with,
so
with
they
Microsoft.
have Crackdown 3,
Yeah.
which is an Xbox exclusive, going against a multi-platform,
Right.
multiple multi-platform games on the same day. That's
It's a curious choice.
it's a bold strategy. We'll see how it pays off.
Unless they are trying to protect their lack of sales by saying, oh, because it came out on the same day as these other ones.
I mean, you never know. There's some weird marketing strategies out there. So
Cheers, sir.
Oh, cheers. But that's why they hold, because they know the game sucks. Well, only time will tell, Cash Family.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, worst case scenario, it's just the original Crackdown again.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing.
But I mean, they could break it further. But again, it's
Who
like
knows?
I'm willing to give it a chance just because I liked the series.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, we'll just have to wait to see how it turns out.
So, Terry Crews, obviously, it's basically a Terry Crews simulator, apparently, according to some reviewers.
Do you literally just play as Terry Crews
I do not know
as
if
the
he's
main character?
I don't even
or
think I don't know if necessarily he's the main character. I think he's just maybe like your
just part of the team or something.
maybe.
Or
Alternately, he could just be used for the marketing and have no part of the game itself.
possible too. People like Terry Crews.
Yeah, I have not been following this because I've been kind of disappointed by the way it's been going the last little while. If it turns out that it's fantastic, I'll play it on the PC.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's what I said. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, if it turns out to be good, we'll fucking play it anyways.
The one thing we do know about the game, however, is that it is not going to be the cloud computing showcase that Microsoft wanted it to be back in 2013.
They quietly put that one to bed over the years as it was slowly not coming out.
It's gotten worse.
How did it get worse?
Well,
and yes, Cash Family, Terry Crews is the man.
Terry Crews is amazing. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I love Terry Crews to death, but right now, not even he can sell this game.
No, I mean, he only has so much of a hand in it, too. Like, he's a bit of a gamer and stuff, but he's not, like, balls deep in this thing. Like, they paid him money to dress up in the costume, promote it, shout in some commercials and stuff, and that was basically it.
He didn't make me, like, start using Old Spice, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, originally it was supposed to be, everything was cloud driven.
Yeah,
and, like all the...
Back when the origin story of it was, like, we're going to use this amazing cloud computing to have a completely destructible city and
so we fast forward like 4 or 5 years, and cloud computing is only going to be used for the multiplayer. So that's great and all, but right at the launch, you can't play Wrecking Zone, which is the cloud-enabled multiplayer mode. You can't play it with your friends. It's like single player only.
What?
Yeah, and better yet,
I thought it was a multiplayer.
No, it's not going to be shipped with the game initially. The multiplayer portion of it. So that there's no ETA on the implementation of it. This is what Microsoft has said this week. It's
so there's a part of the game that is so broken that they're not even including it with it.
This is from creative director Joe Staten. He's confirmed on Twitter it will not support Wrecking Zone with friends at launch, and there is no ETA. It says just stay tuned.
So let's say you get Wrecking Zone a week later. Are you still not going to be able to play with friends? You're just...
I mean,
they're going to send you into a quote-unquote fully destructible city by yourself?
I mean, I'd be fine with that too. I mean, that was my whole Red Faction guerrilla experience, really.
Yeah, but it's better to break those buildings down and stuff with friends online, right? I thought that was kind of the whole point
of that. I mean, technically you could do that in Red Faction guerrilla as well, but we'll see.
That's kind of the funny part to me. Is I know Red Faction isn't exactly a sprawling metropolis by any means, but
there was a lot of it.
The fact that you had a game that was more or less completely destructible on Xbox 360 and a PS3.
Yeah.
And it was fun as hell to play and graphically impressive, especially at the time.
Right.
And now we're dealing with this.
the multiplayer actually had more destructible buildings in a smaller area
because they built it for that specific
for
reason.
Multiplayer.
Yeah.
Plus, you had the demolition mode, the wrecking. Oh, what was it?
They're quoting President Camacho
What's this?
in the chat right now.
President Camacho. It's what plants grave. Yeah, electrolytes. Anyway. I mean, Terry Crews, he actually was even on The Newsroom, which was an Aaron Sorkin television show on HBO, and he was great on it. He was like Jeff Bridges' bodyguard for 4 or 5 episodes while he was like under death threats and whatnot. So yeah, he can actually do serious acting as well as his fantastic turn on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Well, let's see if he ultimately sells the game.
Yeah, Terry loves yogurt. By the way, a lot of our news this week is largely about the financial returns as companies talk about how they did in 2018.
Right. We don't shy away from that stuff.
No, but
we'll deal with some numbers from time to time.
Only the interesting ones. There was a lot of really, oh yeah, we made money. We, investors seem pleased, but
a lot of jargon in there. But
yeah. What was interesting though, by the end of January, Nintendo revised their Switch sales target for 2019 down from 20 million to 17 million.
Okay.
And the way they described it, they were having lower than expected sales for the first 9 months of the year, and it resulted in an immediate drop in shares for the company. So a lot of the Switch hype right now is they're on a bubble.
Yeah.
So I think they've had, I don't know what their total sales are. They're supposed to do 17 million sales now for this fiscal year, but they're looking at all the things that now will affect that, like Metroid 4 not happening.
Yeah.
Metroid Prime 4, excuse me.
That's the interesting part about Nintendo is that unlike an Xbox sale or a PS4 sale, they have they're not as jarring if something happens. Like, it's more of a steady stream, where Switch is a real roller coaster depending on what's getting released or what gets canceled.
Well, DS was a money printing machine, like all the old memes said, right?
Yeah,
you could throw anything on the DS and
but that's because people just wanted a portable gaming system, which there was very few of. But now that you have your Switch, you have your PS4, you have your Xbox, you have gaming rigs, like like Steam stuff, like everything. Like, there's so much of that stuff. But now a lot of people buy into Nintendo because they're looking for those exclusives, those Nintendo tidbits. And again, that's why it flows so well. Like when your Mario comes out, your Zelda comes out, your Mario Kart, your Metroid Prime 4 gets canceled. Like, that's when those are going to rise and dip a lot. Whereas PS4, if say all of a sudden, Days Gone got canceled or something like that. Again, that wasn't like the hottest game or whatever, but saying that type of thing, like something like that, if it was a big expected game and that one got canceled, you wouldn't just see like a drop in PS4 sales, whereas Switch, that's what happens to it.
If Goat's Sashimi got canceled, I imagine there would be some people pissed.
That would be...
Or The Last of Us 2 for some reason. Like, why would that ever happen?
Well, because the first one was good and people know what they're expecting.
I guess. In any case. So anyway, Nintendo president Shintaro Furukawa, he actually said, he was talking about the revision, the stats. He says, this is a weird statement from like a president of a company. He said, as we look back so far for this fiscal year, we now evaluate that our efforts to fully convey the appeal of Nintendo Switch hardware and software to the number of new consumers we originally hoped to reach were insufficient. So it wasn't a problem with the software or the hardware itself. They just did not get across to the customer what the appeal was. I mean, I'm not saying that's a false statement, but it seems like a weird choice of ways to explain it.
It may just be kind of what they felt was the major factor in it, because they've been through their highs and lows with other consoles too, and they've kind of like learned what to do and what not to do for the most part anyways.
So Terry loves collectibles. Excellent. Points to you, Radio Fish.
And
the Cash family, he says, wait, did you say ghost of sashimi? No.
No, that's our joke, because
That's our internal joke.
We kept screwing up the name of it when it first got announced because we were so excited about it that we kept stumbling over the name. So we came up with the alternate name for it. It was Goats of Sashimi.
Goats of Sashimi.
Even though the actual title of it is Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost singular of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Tsushima being an island that the Mongols invaded. I don't remember the exact time.
I'm all for them bringing out a simulator of goats eating sushi either. So, like, I'm good either way.
Sushis or sashimis are not plural. Okay, so it's interesting, but here's the thing. They're complaining that they're not getting across the appeal of the platform when, I mean, we think back to the launch. And what was the launch now? Was it 2-3 years now? It's something like that.
Wasn't it?
When did Horizon come out? 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
2.5 years ago.
In March? February? February. Because that's the release window for Guerrilla Games. They always do that.
Last year, it was Uncharted. It was Horizon, Uncharted. What was last year?
Let's just say it's been out for 2 years.
It'll be 3 years. It'll be 3 years at this point. Anyway, long story short, where's the second round of games, right? They announced Super Mario Odyssey, was it Breath of the Wild?
Yep.
And
Mario Kart 8.
Mario Kart 8.
Mario Party.
And the Pokemon came later, but everyone knew there was going to be a Pokemon game.
The big one, which definitely kept a lot of sales going, or at least people wanting to get a Switch, is Animal Crossing. That is a huge one for them. I'm not a fan, but yeah, it comes out this year.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the one that, like, outside of like Pikmin, Animal Crossing is one of those ones that is an absolute darling for Nintendo owners. I never got into it, but that's just me. So
it kind of makes me curious why they decided to phrase it like they did not get across the appeal to the customer when the problem was things like no chat functionality or their layout in the store is terrible.
Maybe in a roundabout way, they're kind of saying that they fucked up on that end of things, saying like,
without actually saying
sorry, we kind of promoted this as this, even though the functions are either hard to use or they don't exist or something like that.
They still have friend codes. They don't.
Or it was a loose enough jargon that it wasn't going to scare investors away or something.
Yeah.
Like
well,
that.
I mean, no Metroid Prime 4, no F-Zero.
Yeah.
No fucking Virtual Console. No unified Nintendo account.
Had Virtual Console on their bingo card.
Yeah, I mean, whatever time it was in the pool, it was like 55 minutes into the stream was the first Virtual Console gripe. But, so I mean, all things considered, there's a lot of reasons that maybe the Switch isn't doing as well as they were anticipating, but it's still doing really well.
If it is at that 3-year mark or whatever, I think it's 2 years, but I'm pretty sure it's 2 years.
All right, I'm going to have to look this up now.
Even at a 2-year mark,
yeah.
If you have less games coming out and your sales are kind of starting to dry up a little bit, you know what they need to fucking do? They need to have a price drop, for fuck's sakes. The thing still costs the same thing it did when it came out 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They need to have a price drop. And if they're not going to drop the price, they need to have a new iteration of it that has, you know, maybe slightly more power, bigger hard drive in it, better battery, like that kind of thing. Like,
so they can prey on the same consumers again?
But that's the thing. Somebody like me that doesn't own one yet, but still ultimately wants one, you could kind of goad me into it to say, hey, you remember that thing that you wanted? Well, here's it at the same price you were considering paying for, but it's a better version of it now.
March 3rd, 2017. So that was when, I think that's roughly when Horizon came out. So it's been 2 years.
There you go. So
it is the third year, but it's like 2
Yeah.
2 years.
So anyways, what that comes down to, and again, this is not a strange realm for Nintendo to be in. How many fucking DS and 3DSs did they have?
Yeah.
Like, so many iterations of it. So to have a second iteration of the Switch is not that strange of an idea.
It would probably be, not this year, it would be like next year at the
That's
earliest.
the whole thing. Hit us with a price drop.
Yeah.
And then bring out an updated system next year or something like that.
Maybe.
Because again, it's something that I still want, but I just can't bite on $380 Canadian for that when I can buy a PS4 Pro for that, basically.
Yeah.
Like
it plays Phantasy Star great. So that's literally all I've used it for since Breath of the Wild came out. Well, that's not true. We did do the 12-hour stream with 1-2 Switch, which was amazing.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, again, like, like when I eventually, like when I ultimately get one, it'll be great because I'll have this whole bevy of games to get rather than waiting for them to come out. But still, it's you know, though those games are awesome and stuff, but it's not worth almost $400 just to get the system.
Okay, now the Cash family brings up about Labo or Labo, whatever. Labo, whatever.
I like to go with Labo because it sounds like laboratory.
I like Labo because it sounds like labia.
That's just perverted. It's a child's toy.
Hey, blame Nintendo for not anticipating that.
Especially, hey, TK Star, welcome to the chat.
Hey, TK, how you doing? How you doing?
Just in time to hear Jack say labia.
Labia. Labo. Labio.
Labo, Labo, however you want to say it. It's
anyway.
it's the cardboard building kits for the Switch.
It's like labor, so it's Labo. That's what I think.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
well,
long story short, it's a brilliant idea in concept.
Yeah.
But it's like a lot of those Nintendo peripherals, it's like how much long-term play are you actually going to get out of it? Like the Wii Fit was great for about an hour, and then who used it again like after that? Wii Fit has gotten more play in Smash Brothers than in the actual game. So, I don't know. But anyway, we're doing good, TK. We're enjoying a nice puppers. And Radiophage, so let's get some cross chat going.
And so it's again, it's one of those kind of cool ideas because
Labo like Lego.
It is a very different way of playing too. And again, that speaks to my aspect of like I love Lego, I like Meccano, I like
the creative aspect,
Connects, like all the building kits and stuff. Like that was a really cool idea. The problem I had with it though is that ultimately some of them just weren't that fun after you built them. And unlike a lot of those building kits, you don't break it down and then build it into something else. It's literally the one thing that it is, and that's it. It's stuck as that, as a piano or a motorbike or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean,
once Ichigo, welcome to the chat.
Hey, Ichigo.
We're just talking about Labo or Labo, whichever way you want to say it for the Switch.
It kind of reminded me a lot of the philosophy behind Little Big Planet, where you had like the cardboard ship that you'd like decorate it and stuff.
Yeah, it's
all the stickers and stuff.
Time.
Right. It's like as a kid, you'd make like a fake starship or whatnot. You know, it's like Labo's like that.
Very much so, because as we saw, I think even after the fact, they went in and sold kits that had stickers and markers and all that other stuff, so you could
for an exorbitant fee.
Yes, very much
like
so.
a ridiculous fee.
But yeah, they sold these extra kits so you could decorate the kits that you built.
But I mean, if anything, it really served as more of a tech demo for other developers to say, wow, look at all these interesting things can do with a little cardboard. How can we use these functions? Like the high def rumble.
I mean, yeah, honestly, like we played 1-2 Switch, and I think
that was the most impressive part of it.
That is literally the only thing that I remember out of it, other than you running around like a gorilla,
which was amazing. I had a lot of fun doing that.
Oh, that, and I was really good at that one that had the treasure chest and you unwrap the rope on it. Like that's literally all I remember from that game. But yeah, it's amazing. Again, Nintendo puts their heart and soul into these things, and it really sucks because they could make some amazing, unique one-off things for that system. But again, it's ultimately up to the developers to do it. I'm
still strongly disappointed in their titling and how ours were distinctly better.
Oh, absolutely.
I will always, to this day...
I wish you could go in and edit the files to
Awkward Milking and Shaving for Businessmen was my favorite out of all of those games.
We'll just make our own indie game called Shaving for Businessmen.
Shaving for Businessmen would be
We'll hook it up to an old Wiimote or a PlayStation Move controller. And
that'll be a big hit. We'll have it on Vive. All right. So anyway, lot of
oh, there we go. See, J2K looked it up. So canonically, Labo, like laboratory. That's what I was
laboratory.
Thinking.
Okay, so
that's what I always called it. So, but yeah, whatever.
It's because in Japanese, like they would say lab, but they don't have a sound that's just a B at the end.
It's labu.
So they say rabo.
Oh, rabo. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Labo.
There we go. Radiophage wants to play Shaving for Businessmen.
Radiophage needs to go back and listen to like from 2 years ago, back before we knew the actual name of the mini games in 1-2 Switch.
Well, because literally, like it was an E3 or a Treehouse presentation that they did. They showed off the games, but they just showed like 3 or 4 random mini games.
It was the sizzle reel
playing with the controllers.
Yeah. But there was Child Neglect Simulator.
But it just showed the game. It didn't name what it was, so we made up names for them.
There was Samurai Staring. There was Awkward Milking. There was Shaving for Businessmen.
Yeah.
What was the other one? I can't remember. There was a lot of really good classic titles, but yeah, those are the ones that stick out in my mind as my favorites. Shaving for Businessmen especially, though. But yeah, I'm disappointed that that game was not a better game.
Yeah.
Oh.
So anyways, what that comes down to is,
Yep.
my suggestion is either they need a price drop or they need a refresh on the system if they're going to keep selling it at the same price.
Well, until now that they're actually...
Or the least they can fucking do is sell a Switch system that comes with a fucking game. Because the games cost $90.
Virtual.
No, shut about your virtual console.
It's not like it would be tough for them.
They've given up on that, though. They can just feed it to us mini system by mini system.
They would just bite the bullet and say, "Yeah, sorry, we have a unified Nintendo account now, but everything before this is fucked." They would have so many more people buying it just to play old Nintendo games on a Switch, or old GameCube games on a Switch.
They obviously think differently, though, so...
They're just going to skip this generation, and then when
they tried to put a chat function on a
God,
separate peripheral that plugs into your phone. These are the people we're dealing with.
This is the universe we live in, where Microsoft is going to fix the chat functionality of the Switch.
Yeah, and then that's the whole thing, is that they... Microsoft dove in, they're like, hey, let's help you with that, because you're suffering right
Ridiculous.
now.
Ridiculous. Talked about, well, actually, we haven't seen that yet. Is it Ultimate Alliance? That's not out yet.
What's that?
The Switch exclusive.
Oh, God, no.
Number 3.
I don't even think it might come out this year. I don't know.
See, that might actually make me play the Switch more.
We literally saw a trailer for it, like a teaser trailer for it
launch.
at E3 last year.
Was it last year? I thought it was at launch, and we hadn't seen anything since.
Nope, E3 2018. We saw a trailer for it. That's when that was one of the highlights, because it was like, oh, cool, it's coming back. Oh, and it's a Switch exclusive, apparently, but whatever.
That's kind of a weird thing for Capcom to choose.
That's why it was a very strange one. Like, I was kind of scratching my head after that, because there's a lot of fans of those fucking games, so there's going to be a lot of people pissed that they don't have a Switch when they want to play that.
Yeah,
so.
And there's a lot of, like, Nintendo Capcom games, like games of Capcoms that I would associate with Nintendo.
They've always got, they've always got that in their back pocket. Like, they've shared a lot of those games. They have had some bad blood in the past, but I think they've worked past that now.
They should sell 3 Switches? Like, we're talking about different SKUs now?
No. He's saying that should sell 3 Switches. So, like, the draw of the game is it's going to sell at least 3 extra Switches.
Honestly, the Switch is not a silly concept. It's a decent console.
It's a really cool concept. But they're just kind of fucking it up,
like Nintendo.
From time to time.
Yeah, it's like it was the first console, unlike like the Wii U, which was just bizarre, and like the Wii before that, which was just not strong enough. It had a decent chance, and then Nintendo said, "Oh, how can we fuck this up?" So anyway, we'll see. As soon as they put the Virtual Console on, I guarantee you,
it's already like blown past anything the Wii U ever did. So I mean that it's not that it's struggling. It's just it's not as good as the forecast as they wanted it to be.
It's not doing a 3DS kind of numbers.
But nothing will. Yep. I mean, that price point and the mobility and stuff like that.
Speaking of 3DS numbers, Take-Two. Let's talk about Take-Two for a while. Let's get off Nintendo. We'll talk to
What do
Take-Two.
they want? Are they giving me the game that I want yet?
Which game is that? Agents?
Borderlands?
Oh, I guess Take-Two. Yeah, I guess. In this particular one, they're talking about like Take-Two and Rockstar. So, first and foremost, Take-Two, Rockstar will always be like their top tier showcase company.
Because they're a multi-billion-dollar company.
Exactly. So they say that Red Dead Redemption 2 has now sold across all platforms, which is, I guess, 2 platforms. 23 million units.
That's pretty solid.
Which is
that
decent.
Was October? I think?
November they released.
It was November?
Yeah. November.
I
think it was the 13th, November 13th.
Okay, well, there you go. So
it was early to mid-November.
3 months in and moving 23 million units. That's some solid ass numbers.
I mean, it's not GTA numbers. But
no, but again, it's that whole aspect of it's kind of the same game, but some people don't buy into the Western. They like the modern, just normal life kind of situation.
And GTA has had like 6-8 games to build up.
This is true too. Yeah.
Compared to the first game, they had Red Dead Redemption. The original one sold 15 million copies across 2 different platforms in its entire lifetime. So the fact that this has done 23 million in the last 2 months is pretty amazing. And on top of that, they say that Red Dead Online is already charting above and beyond what GTA Online did within the same time frame.
Yeah.
So people are adopting that a lot more readily. And I cannot wait, honestly, to dive in on that. Tron, we need to posse up and go shoot some dudes. Because damn, like that game, I like to maximum excess on it. I gorged on it so much over that month. After the end of that month, it was like, oh, I don't want to see Westerns for a long time.
Because you had to write a player's guide and stuff like that, too.
It was like 100 and I don't remember the exact numbers, 120-something missions.
Yeah.
And I wrote a guide for all of them for getting gold medals. And, yeah, that after that is like, I don't want to see this game for a bit.
No, I don't blame you one bit.
But, yeah, now I'm feeling kind of the pull because I have to go back and actually finish my platinum and stuff, so...
But yeah. Dimitri in Exodus.
Yeah, I know. You know, it's Artyom.
Oh, sorry,
Artyom. I'm sure there's a Dimitri in there.
I guarantee there's a Dimitri in there.
All right. Let's go bowling. No, that's a different game. So, while they were talking about their financial results for the year, Strauss Zelnick, who's the CEO of Take-Two, right? So he's like the... I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of Strauss Zelnick, and I'm sure he's a nice guy, but he's got dead eyes.
A name like that, I can already kind of picture him.
If you look at a picture of Strauss Zelnick, it's like when you look at a picture of a shark. Because it's like, yeah, okay, he's smiling.
As long as his eyes aren't on the side of his head, then...
No, he just kind of looks a little, what's the word, robotic.
Oh, okay.
So.
I was going to say catatonic, but...
Yeah. You want to pick up a picture of Strauss Zelnick, you'll see what I mean. Anyway, so he's talking to his investors, and somebody asked him about Fortnite, right? Because everyone's talking about, you know, battle royale games and PUBG and Fortnite and now Apex Legends, and he kind of had like a clapback moment, which I gotta give him props for. He's talking about Fortnite's success. He says it's kind of a unique case because it was supposed to be like a AAA game, and they made it into a battle royale. It was like now it's a free-to-play option when it was originally a AAA game. So it's kind of a unique case. But what he said, he defends sort of the Take-Two, the Rockstar mode of making games. He says, I think that's sort of a standalone experience. I think that's hard to replicate. It would probably be ill-advised to try to replicate it. So a little poke in the eye at EA there.
Well, any comers, because we've seen, you know,
so many.
A whole shitload of people try to copy the Battle Royale thing.
FIFA's going to have a Battle Royale mode.
Oh, wait, what?
Yep. Anyway,
Okay.
we're going to gloss right over that. The truth is, when you deliver an amazing AAA experience, consumers show up for it. You've seen it for us over and over again. You see it in the extraordinary results of Red Dead Redemption 2, the continued exceptional results of Grand Theft Auto 5, and the results of our catalog, which sells pound for pound better than anyone else's catalog, which is to say units sold per SKU. We're the best in the business. So he brought out his big swinging dick and knocked some folks over in the boardroom.
It wasn't his dick, it was a big swinging wallet.
6 of one... half a dick of the other.
Someone stands up in the audience. Yeah, but how long can that last? He just whips it out and goes,
yeah. Y'all better duck, because I'm about to turn left. Strauss Zelnick, I mean, he might be robotic, but he has a pretty good catalog under him.
And ultimately, that's what it comes down to. It isn't like they just made one game and got really lucky and they said, oh, look at all this money we made. It's like, no, they've been in the game this long. They've made that much money. They're still popular as hell right now. They're not going anywhere. They don't need to copy the Battle Royale.
There's straight up Take-Two games. There's like all the Gearbox games that are Take-Two. There's all the what's the one? It's not in whatever Ken Levine's new company is. The BioShock guys. Irrational?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if they're still Irrational anymore. I have to.
They probably changed it. Everyone seems to change their name every 2 to 3 years.
Supposedly there's going to be like another BioShock game this year too.
Yeah, I actually heard murmurs of that. So
anyway, so I mean he's right though. EA talks about, you know, the single player experience, but Take-Two embodies the single player experience. And it's not to say that they don't do multiplayer too. Like 2K games, they have all the sports games.
And seeing that's my kind of take on it too. Is that you get these companies that dive in and they look for the new hotness, like whatever's going on at that time. Yeah, they try to copy it and then push it out the door because they're like, we need money now. Look at it, just fucking cram it out. Like, you know, they do the crunch time. They people making it. They get the game out and, you know, they make some cash off of it, and that's about all they get out of it. Yeah. Whereas you have somebody like Take-Two that are really, really passionate, and they make these big, amazing AAA titles, and they accept both sides of the gaming like that too, because you can have a solid like 20 or 30 hour single player experience along with a really solid fucking online experience too.
Just a quick big shout out to Captain Quench, who's joining us while he's playing Apex Legends.
I'll give him a quick medium shout out because I don't want to overshadow Jack.
Hey, that's it.
Hey, Captain Quench, welcome to the chat. Thanks for joining.
We're gonna do some night talk with Jack McBastard beat poetry just for him later on. Cheers to you, sir.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm glad.
Yeah, there's
I'm
a lot
glad
of friends
that
in the chat. Thanks everyone for coming out today. I got a lot of old home folks in the chat, new and old friends.
They're on their pedestal and they're not going anywhere. That's the
Our
important.
friends,
No,
or
no. Well, they're them too. Obviously,
Strauss Zelnick
but-
could take two.
Yeah, they're in a very, very good position, which means they don't need to fall to the whatever is. We got to make that because that's what's big right now. They make their own games.
They
and
don't
that's
need to
it.
chase trends.
Yeah, exactly, and it's great.
J Tanuki, just for the shits and giggles, look up a picture of Strauss Zelnick and post a link in the chat. Like,
if he looks like G-Man, I'm gonna
there's-
lose my shit.
I swear to God, I've only ever seen the same stock photo of him. Like the same fucking one.
He's a mannequin. He never changes expression, never changes his suit.
Yeah, that one there, that'll do perfectly. I think that's the one that I've seen. If you look, all of them look essentially the same. It's like he takes the same photo each and every time.
He's trained to do it that way,
Yeah.
so he looks the same in all of his photos.
Yes, he looks like something you'd see in Madame Tussauds. I mean, that's not to say he's not a canny businessman, because obviously he's made a shit ton of money.
He's an uncanny gentleman.
Yes, he lives in the uncanny valley. Anyway,
It's like I would shake his hand and be looking at him like, "Are you computer animated by chance?"
I have never seen him blink, if that's what you mean. There you go. Giggles and shits. Well, yeah, first one then the other. I guess it really depends on whether you
Never
find...
get the two of them mixed up.
No, that'd be a dangerous game. All right, so, which is true, right?
Stepford CEO.
Yeah, right? Right? But I mean, you can't deny, you can't argue with results.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of a direct dealing he's had with the actual day-to-day of these developers. I'm assuming
He's probably just a top tier bean
Probably.
counter. And,
Probably. But
spits all his fucking jargon and keeps the money flowing.
right, he just happens to have a really successful company under him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, see, there you go. Generic stock photo dude said main kill destroy. Right?
Pretty accurate.
He is handsome in that nondescript kind of way.
This is what a white businessman looks
Right?
like.
He should either be a stock photo model or an intelligence asset, because no one would remember that.
Or wear suits in the JCPenney window.
BioWare stare. Yikes. So he does like the four gestures, like the hand and the points
Yeah.
and the I don't know. I don't remember all the BioWare gestures, but you see him in Dragon Age and Mass Effect and
Oh yeah, gotta reuse those.
Anyway, long story short, Red Dead Redemption 2 doing great. Like, shocking
Obviously.
nobody. Square-Enix, on the other hand, they do not know how to set a target and be happy about what their results
Oh
are.
no, did they want to sell 300 million copies of Kingdom Hearts 3?
Well, Square Enix is once again having to justify to their investors why their targets were so unrealistic. So they're explaining in a recent press release in advance of their financial results for fiscal year 2018.
Yeah.
So they had recent launches of Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Just Cause 4, Octopath Traveler. And this is the phrase that kills me, those failed to cause an equivalent increase in profits, quote, due to a greater amortization of development costs for major new titles and increased advertising expenses. So their targets were way out of whack. They spent all of their money on advertising.
Yeah.
And somehow their targets were just way off.
For all of those?
All of them. And this is the company that's like, oh, the original Tomb Raider sold like 5 million units. It wasn't what we expected. And then like, what was it? Sleeping Dogs. That failed.
I would ultimately like to know what they're expecting to sell of these things.
I don't know.
5 million units for Tomb Raider?
Yeah.
I think that's pretty fucking good. So it sounds like they spent way too much on advertising. That's the whole thing is I think they're a little short-sighted in that aspect. I think they spend what they have to make the game.
Yeah.
But then they go and blow like $300 million on advertising when it's just like, dude, it's fucking Tomb Raider. It'll sell itself.
Honestly, I think
Go buy a Super Bowl ad for that.
No. Square Enix is in a position where they have to reconcile the performance of Final Fantasy. Like, over the course of its lifetime with everything else that Square owns. And it's like, it's such a weird bubble that Final Fantasy is in, because Final Fantasy 13 did, on paper, amazingly well. But it was a terrible game.
Yeah.
And same thing with Final Fantasy 15. It shipped essentially broken. But it was a very attractive game. And you really didn't realize it was broken until about 50-something hours into it.
Yeah.
By which point you'd already spent the money, and, and it made shitloads of money.
Technically, if you bought it, they have you from minute one. It doesn't matter if it's 1 minute or 50 minutes
Essentially.
or 50 hours.
Well, I mean, but word of mouth, right?
Yeah.
It's like the Indigo Prophecy effect. I advocated for that game for like the 40 hours of gameplay until the last hour, where I went, oh shit, don't play this game. It's too late. So.
Yeah, JJ Nuki does have a point, though. Final Fantasy 14 is still amazingly popular. It has its own convention.
Oh, yeah. Like, honestly, I think that Square, like Sega, should focus more on their online games and less on their single-player experiences. And Sega, I'm referring, of course, to Phantasy Star, which kills me that they're still doing Phantasy Star Online.
I mean, even Mamekill brings up a good point of nobody wants the old Phantasy Star games now.
No, they do. They bought the Sega Ages version. I bought it. A lot of people bought it. God damn it.
Not nearly enough.
I know,
but Mamekill brings up a good point, is that I'm honestly shocked that they never did another Chrono Trigger. They just went on with the whole other side of that, Chrono Cross. And
Chrono Cross was not a good game.
No, and that's the thing, is it wasn't. And then they made another... I think there was another one after that too, which was something completely different, and it was
there
just...
wasn't. What are you talking about?
I thought they made another one in that series.
Not in that series, no.
But either way, everyone knows that Chrono Trigger, again, till this very day, is still widely known as one of the best JRPGs of all time. It's like, I get it, you're going back to your bread and butter of Final Fantasy and stuff. Maybe go into some of those. Like, you know, you never know what you would get out of something
Chrono Cross
like
was
that.
a decade ago, and it still hurts. I am still burned by that game.
Yeah. I know exactly one person that liked that game.
I mean, I can honestly, like, to this day, I can recount specific plot points of Chrono Trigger and a lot of games even before that. But Chrono Cross, it's like I remember them going back to the original map, which is this tiny little portion of the actual map.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even tell you any of the characters' names or even describe them vaguely because they were so generic. There was like 100-something different characters, right? And unlike Suikoden, where each one had a specific function and design and were recognizable, I couldn't tell you one fucking person from Chrono Cross to this day. So, anyway, how well did it sell? I honestly don't know. Not as well as Chrono Trigger, for sure.
Which one? Which is he comparing to
I'm
Chrono
assuming
Trigger?
He's asking about Chrono Cross.
Oh, Chrono Cross? Yeah, no, not...
It absolutely didn't.
No. I mean, that game, I think you can literally buy it on eBay for $5 or something like that.
Yeah.
I own a single cartridge of Chrono Trigger without the dust cover, without the box, without the manual or anything like that, and I think I can get like $120 for it right now. That shows it right there. TK
Star says she was literally about to mention Suikoden, and that is such a great franchise that is underrepresented in JRPG fandoms. But now that like Suikoden 1 and 2 are available digitally, like everyone owes it to themselves to play those.
I do have to give it to Square on some of the stuff they've been trying to do. They have that Japan RPG company or whatever.
Yeah, Octopath Traveler was great.
They had Octopath Traveler and I Am Setsuna, which were both from that company.
And they're remastering The World Ends With You.
Yes, I'm so looking forward to that. Another reason why I want to Switch, actually. Yeah. But yeah, so they're going... I like that they're doing that because they're having these like much smaller little experiences like that that harken back to a Chrono Trigger-esque type of situation.
You know what they could do? Like a lot of those old like JRPG games that appeared on like the DS and whatnot, if only they had a console that would appear virtually.
You fucking stop it.
I mean, it's such an obvious fucking move.
Obviously it isn't.
Sell a Switch.
Because they haven't done it yet.
Like it's right there. Nintendo.
They tried to put their chat on a phone with a separate peripheral.
Not helping. You're killing me, Smalls. Anyway, let's talk about Sega. Now that we're on Sega.
Oh, what do they want?
They want, unfortunately, to do better financially because they are incurring an extraordinary loss of $55 million for this financial year. The loss is being attributed to the intensifying competition as well as, shockingly enough, the decline of its existing mobile games.
Huh. Go figure.
Yeah.
Better shut out another Sonic game.
It's not like the most recent Phantasy Star Online. Isn't that a mobile game? I think it is.
I honestly don't know, just because I don't follow mobile gaming all that closely. Like, it has to be something pretty big for me to take note of a mobile game version of it, like that, like Diablo or Command and Conquer, which we won't speak of again.
No, we actually, we're gonna get to the EA portion, but yeah, awful.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they've confirmed that they'll be incurring an extraordinary loss. This is the term, $55 million this financial year. They have, and this is the great thing. Right after this, someone said, "Oh, what about bringing Yakuza to the Xbox?" And immediately, nope, no plans. So it's like they might be losing money, but they still had a chance to flip off Microsoft and say, "Fuck you! You didn't believe in Yakuza 10 years ago. Go fuck yourself."
I don't know.
I'm paraphrasing, obviously.
Well, we'll see if they change their note in another year when they're down another $100 million or whatever.
Everyone owes it to themselves, regardless of platform. If you have a computer, you have an Xbox.
And see, that's the thing.
Play
Is
Yakuza.
if I was an Xbox owner, if Sega turned around and said, "Hey, here's this gorgeous box set of all the Yakuza games,"
right?
Day one purchase for tons of people. Like, they would dive in on that.
Well, I don't know how many people would buy, "Oh, I've got nothing Yakuza. Oh, I will buy everything." Like, one at a time. That's fine.
Either way, offer it.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Anyone who went to the Xbox and said, "I'm going to play Shenmue,"
let the people experience it. That's the thing. Like,
we're getting into like some Les Miserables here. You know?
No. I mean, that the whole thing is like, I was actually happy when because I was a huge fan of Demon's Souls when it came out.
Yes.
And then I was just like, people need to play this fucking game. It is absolutely spectacular. And Xbox owners wanted it, but they were like, no, it's PlayStation only or whatever.
Well, that's just
then they announced Dark Souls.
Yeah.
And that came out on both consoles. And I was like, yes, people get to play this. Go fucking play it. It's amazing.
Largely the same game.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much the same game. Just, more
mechanically, anyway.
More fine-tuned.
Yeah, mechanically. All right. So let's talk about EA, which is largely, it's going to lead right into our big ticket for the day.
Okay.
So
do it.
EA, if you remember back in 2013, let's jump in the Wayback Machine all the way back to the Xbox One launch. EA was a primary partner on Xbox One's original failed DRM experiment. And they came out and they trotted it out, and somehow Don Matrick was amazed that no one really reacted the way that he wanted. That, no one was happy about this. So EA was a primary partner along with, if you can believe it, GameStop.
Blockbuster.
Yeah, the other failing company, excuse me. The new Blockbuster. So they were on board for, oh yeah, you can trade in your digital games at GameStop with, it's just the physical media, but it's actually your license, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Long story short, people didn't go for that. GameStop didn't have its thing. EA didn't have its thing. So meanwhile, they've gone to the trouble, oh yeah, we don't need online passes anymore since we're big and magnanimous and we're going to another console where we're going to just DRM the fuck out of you. So they were stuck. As a result, they got EA Access, which was largely kind of the scaled down version of the Microsoft DRM, specifically to EA.
Right.
So you get the $5 off any new games when you buy them digitally. I think it's within a certain amount of time of its release. You get the access to the EA Vault, which has some of the older games in it. And you get access to new release games. I think it's a week early for 15 hours. So I believe it's only a week. Anyway, so this was the deal. And we've talked about this at length. My feelings on it, how it's not a great deal unless you buy new games release week. You never trade anything in, and you never lend your games to anyone else.
Yeah.
Other than that, not a great deal for people who are game owners. So now we have heard that EA is planning to bring EA Access to other platforms. And while it could be the Switch, EA has very few games on the Switch.
Yeah.
So it's almost certainly to the PS4.
Well, and I mean, it's more or less kind of, it's like a storefront. So technically they could split it out to everyone, but you would only have access to the ones that EA offers on it. So
Right.
there are EA games on the Switch, but it's like just because EA Access is on your Switch, obviously doesn't mean you're getting the same shit that the Xbox and the PS4 have. Like,
well, no, it wouldn't be because the Switch has very few EA games by comparison.
yeah,
right?
but it's still, that option would be
Yeah.
there. It's just, you know, expect that it's whatever would normally be available. You're not. It's not like you're getting extra content just because they're putting this on the Switch or whatever.
But the big rumor is that it is going to be the PS4. It's not going to be the Switch. It's going to be the PS4. And the problem being that originally PlayStation said this isn't a great value for PlayStation users. And I mean, I absolutely agree with that, because if you're a kind of person who takes your old EA games, trade them in for the new ones, you can't trade in your games because anything that's in the vault, that's instantly going to depress the actual value of those used games when you trade them in.
Yeah.
It incentivizes buying digitally, which you just can't trade in, especially now that Microsoft's whole God damn it, GameStop partnership has folded. I just confused those two failing companies. Two large, awful, failing companies. So not a great value there. And again, you have to get, in order to get that discount, you have to buy it new, you have to buy it digitally, and you have to buy it like within, I think, the release week or something.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you could just not buy it for $5 a month and buy it physically if and when you wanted it. If you bought every game that you actually wanted, like every EA game that came out, you might eventually make that money back, but
not for $5.
no. and so you have access to the vault, and the week, like, advance access is kind of an incentive for owners, but
if you really, really need to get in there.
The vault itself, over time, as long as they continue to add to it, is kind of a good deal.
Yeah.
But I know that they're kind of, like with EA Access for PC, they have a lot of old stuff that you can access, which is kind of good. I don't think as many of those titles are available for Xbox owners. So now with PlayStation, it's kind of the same thing, right? It's the same fucking catalog.
Yeah.
So,
Maim Kill, best I can do is $12 and a copy of NFL 13.
one Yakuza more. I'm not sure what that joke is.
Oh, he wanted another Yakuza game.
Well, there's always going to be more Yakuza. Like,
that's
every
what he's
fucking
saying.
year.
He wants the next one, whatever that may be.
In fact, we're even getting like the spin-off non-Yakuza game this year, which is going to be Judgment, which is going to be amazing. It's like half Yakuza, half Phoenix Wright. That's a great combination. So anyway, this seems to be kind of like a hostage exchange, because PS Now is starting to have a lot of EA titles on it.
Yeah.
And now EA Access is coming to PlayStation. I'm thinking that's kind of the Faustian bargain they've struck. I still don't think it's a great deal for people, but if
they're gonna have to make the deal better, because that's, again, it goes back to the whole thing. I'm not gonna go into it because of the whole brick and mortar store versus whatever, discounts not allowed, digital, whatever. They need to make that digital purchase more worth it, or it ain't gonna fly, basically.
Yeah. Well, until they get to the point where they can figure out how to sell platforms without a brick and mortar store, there's always going to be that it has to be digitally sell for as much as that physical copy. Otherwise, not Blockbuster, but GameStop will rebel and not sell their stuff in their stores. You know, until we get to that point where Amazon delivers everything directly, which is kind of the Uber corporate, you know, citizenship that we're moving towards. But until we move into the Amazon arcology, we still have to buy stuff at a physical store.
Yeah,
more or less.
Radio Phage, discount is allowed on the channel. He just decided to not show up tonight. So.
Discount, yeah. I really hope he's not dead or something. Like he just died on the side of the road.
No. If he was dying on the side of the road, he would have called you and said, "Fuck you, Jack," and then hung up.
That's fair. That's fair. I probably deserve that at least.
Okay, so what else did EA do?
All right, so they learned the wrong lesson about single-player gaming. This is the great thing.
Was it loud and clear?
Oh no, it's terrible. So after their dismal fourth quarter report for 2018, everything was banked on Battlefield 5, which of course already was like right up against Call of Duty, which is never a great position to be in.
Yeah.
They sold way under target for Battlefield 5, and their mobile gaming revenue was in the toilet. So shockingly enough, Command and Conquer Rivals did not set the world on fire.
Huh. Go figure.
I know, right?
I think it caused fans to set their phones on fire instead.
Because you have a phone, right? You can play it.
Well, not anymore. I set it on fire.
God, I remember that E3. We all just sat there and it was like,
yeah. It was like, well, the initial, like, Command and Conquer, it kind of piques your interest, and all of a sudden, they show, like, this simple tap screen happy, you're like,
they're showing Digital Cane, and shit's getting blown up. It's like, yes! Wait a minute. Oh. Yeah. That's right up there with the Square Final Fantasy VII non-remake the year before.
I mean, we could have raged, but we didn't want to wreck anything in the studio.
I'm pretty sure we raged pretty fucking hard that day. So,
no, I mean, I literally, we would have flipped the coffee table and, like, thrown it across the room, but...
So here's the thing. So it sold far under target, and they're saying it didn't make as much money as they wanted. It still sold 7.3 million copies across all consoles.
See, I think
all platforms,
I think that's what it comes down to, though, is I think either we're talking about the whole thing of, like, games imploding because they cost too much, or these people are way overshooting what they think games are going to sell.
It's both, right? Their budgets are way out of control, so that their targets are completely unrealistic. Where 7.3 million copies sold can be seen as a failure. Like, literally, the phrase was, disappointed in our underperformance.
But, like, again, I want to know what these numbers are. Did they expect to sell 24 million copies of the fucking game, or what?
I don't know.
What did they expect to sell on that game?
I don't know. I cannot explain it.
Yeah.
So anyway, EA's COO/CFO, he's actually both. Blake Jorgensen, he's their chief operating officer and their chief financial officer. He blamed the drop in the series sales, and get this, on the developers' focus on a single-player campaign as opposed to having a promised Battle Royale mode ready for fans in time for the game's launch. Like, how is that the fucking takeaway? Because first of all, the single-player mode in Battlefield 5 is cursory at best.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the vignettes from the first one, pretty much the same thing again, right? We're not talking about, like, an Infinite Warfare-style campaign. We're not talking about, like, well, not this year, because Call of Duty didn't do a single player.
No, they had a single player, and they're like, no, Battle Royale, cram that shit in there, fuck single player.
Yeah, so apparently they succeeded because they didn't have a single player campaign, and not because they were a superior product.
Yeah.
I don't know. So this is their takeaway: single player games don't sell. So EA has not fucking learned. So you have Take-Two over there selling 23 million copies of Red Dead Redemption 2, but EA somehow thinks they gave, like, lip service to a single-player campaign, and that's what sunk Battlefield.
Like, you have you have Red Dead, you have God of War, you have Spider-Man. Nope! Single-player games, fuck those. They don't sell. Fucking Super Mario Odyssey, like, look at this shit. Like, this stuff is fucking selling way better than fucking Battlefield, and they're like, nope, single player games, they're nothing.
Oh no, we got to go back for a second.
I know, I caught that.
He downloaded and played Rivals out of sheer morbid curiosity.
I didn't want to publicly shame him, but here we go.
Yeah, and you were on the couch with us that day. How? Oh my God.
Shame.
Yes. Shame indeed. You're no son of mine. So anyway, Jay Tanuki mentioned something that I want to touch on. She says, I think EA sequels sell more copies with every sequel, not the consumer base drops off with every sequel. And it kind of goes back and forth. Battlefield 1 did phenomenally, as opposed to the previous one they did like a few years before that.
Well, because it had been years, and it was kind of a fresh take on it, too.
Yeah, well, they did Medal of Honor, right, on the PS3, and that kind of, like, their answer to Modern Warfare didn't do as well.
Yeah.
Then they did Battlefield 1 for the PS4, and it was great. And Battlefield 4, I think, was their launch. It kind of did reasonably well.
Radio Phage, is that morbid curiosity, or is it more like necrophilia?
Necrophilia, or I don't know, like some kind of masochism. It was definitely morbid. Captain Quench has only eyes for Apex right now. Anyway,
it's good stuff, man.
Yeah. So Battlefield 1 did amazing. Battlefield was the next one. Was 5 the year after that? That can't be right.
They did Battlefield 1, and then I think they did 5.
Yeah, I guess it was.
I know, they have a weird naming convention for those ones, so... but anyways, yeah, so they...
Because I skipped that year, so...
Yeah.
I've not played 5. I didn't play 1, actually, for that matter, either. So anyway,
I'll literally just go back and play Battlefield 2 and Battlefield 2042 or whatever the
2042 is going back a ways.
I fucking love that game. That was
decent.
That was my favorite one out of the whole thing. You had fucking mechs and laser rifles and shit.
But that's classic Battlefield like tickets gameplay.
Yeah,
you know?
that was my favorite.
Yeah,
just go back to that.
I mean that's decent. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I had fun with that game too. But yeah, that's like old school. All right. So
necromasochism.
Necromasochism. There you go. So, EA CEO Andrew Wilson, he confirms that Battlefield 5's Battle Royale mode is coming out. It's March of this year. It's called Firestorm. We talked about that before.
Yeah.
He also said that its delay into November 2018 resulted in a better game, but the combination of a poor start in our marketing campaign with a longer development cycle that put us in a more competitive window.
You shipped an inferior product without a single-player campaign, without the Battle Royale tacked onto it.
A month after Call of Duty, the same month after, like that Red Dead came out.
What went wrong?
Yeah, I know,
Who knows?
Right? EA. EA is its own worst enemy.
Yikes.
While we're talking about EA making dubious choices, we still have a Star Wars game coming. So, yeah, Blake Jorgensen.
I'm not that hyped for it, just because they'll just fucking cancel it before it comes out anyways.
I don't know.
Because they're really good at that.
Yeah,
they're really good at canceling Star Wars games.
Ragtag got canceled. I don't remember what the other one, like the reconstituted Ragtag, had a different code name, and then that just got canceled.
It was going to be like a squad-based kind of third-person shooter.
Irrelevant.
And then they have this one that they're probably just going to fucking cancel.
So their COO, CFO, Blake Jorgensen, he took the opportunity to remind investors that EA still has a Star Wars game coming out, like the last one standing.
Yeah.
It's called Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Star Wars Jedi : Fallen Order. It's developed by Respawn. It's still coming out this year. I'm assuming in the fall.
We'll see.
Yeah, but what's interesting is going forward, they said that EA will still have EA has Respawn split into two development teams now.
Okay.
Working on games. One's going to be focusing on shooters, the other on action adventure games. So this is kind of an interesting entry into the other piece of discussion.
Yeah.
So Apex Legends, right? Anthem's coming out literally next week. Apex Legends came out last week. EA is poising two major products of its own to compete with each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's primarily because they did not give a fuck about Apex Legends, and they were completely blindsided by its sudden and meteoric success.
It'll be interesting to see how it kind of plays into everything, because if they weren't expecting it to do what it's doing right now, it'll be really interesting to see what happens. Like if they have to either tone something down or upgrade something in Anthem, or fix something around to make sure that they can balance out their own players, because again, they're going to eat their own lunch. Like if everyone's playing this game when they spent hundreds of millions of dollars building this game and stuff like that, like they have a kind of a double-edged sword going on there.
Really, because I would really love to see the study that they do after the fact, the post-mortem that says Apex Legends right now, everyone's talking about it, but like last week, just before it came out, I defy you to find like any kind of advertising campaign, like nothing to the scale and scope of Anthem by any means.
Oh, it's everywhere. All the side banners, all the top banners. People were talking about it in comment
and for
threads
years,
and
right? Like it's going back at least to last E3. I think before that.
Yeah.
But Apex Legends, like no one had heard about it until essentially last month. And then now it's the biggest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah. Oh, and Captain Quench, I agree. They are ultimately different games, but it's interesting to see how quickly Apex has picked up and people have kind of attached themselves to it.
Right.
Compared to a lot of people who wouldn't even touch a battle royale game, even like me. Whereas now I'm in love with Apex. It's fucking awesome. So it'll be interesting to see if some of those people that dove into Apex and they were probably totally hot on Anthem like the week before, and they're like, wait a minute. This game's free to play, and I'm digging this already.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't buy Anthem right off the bat or something. Like, it'll be that's what I'm saying. It'll be interesting to see what happens to make sure that EA kind of tries to balance them out. And I really hope it doesn't come down to the fact they're like, shit, everyone's playing Apex and they're not playing Anthem. cancel Apex, so everyone play Anthem.
No, they wouldn't do that. I mean, EA still likes money, regardless of where it comes. Yes, they're different games, but the Venn diagram isn't as separate as you might think. This isn't like a racing game and a knitting simulator.
Yeah.
Like, people who play Battle Royale games are largely like Destiny players and Division players.
They're in
and
the
whatnot.
same realm. They're
Right?
just of different quantity and quality type of situation. But yeah, I totally agree too, is that the release window is dumb. Like, this whole thing, like, if they were amping up for Anthem releasing, you know, next week and everything like that, we should have been playing Apex in fucking at least like November last year.
Yeah, so it can compete with Battlefield.
Yeah. Because no one played it, so...
No, I mean, it wasn't ready, sure, but there's no way that they should be releasing these two things close together. And honestly, the reason they did it because EA didn't expect it to be anywhere near this big.
Clearly, because nobody knew about it.
No.
And then they said, hey, in 4 days, you guys are getting a thing made by Respawn, and it's a Battle Royale game, and here you go. And all of a sudden, boom, everyone's fucking playing it.
Right. Well, it's like Until Dawn, right, for the PS4. When that first came out, Sony put out nothing ahead of time. And suddenly it comes out and like, oh, word of mouth, it becomes this big cult hit. Then Sony is promoting it. Then they're showing them all kinds of love, right? But it's only after the fact. It's the same thing with EA now with Apex Legends. Now they're seeing it. Holy shit, this has got legs of its own. And I don't know if they're worried now that Anthem is going to maybe take a big hit. Because regardless of whether they're separate games, if Strauss-Zelnick can look at Red Dead Redemption and worry about Fortnite, I mean, EA can look at two of its own games and say, oh, these are very close together. How is this going to work?
Yeah.
So
I just really hope it's one of those things that, like, oh, too many people are playing Apex. Take some money out of that bank and put it into Anthem, because that's the one that's the horse we bet on. That's the one we spend all the money on.
Well, here's the thing, right? Either way, EA wins because they own the IP for both.
They do, but one is a free-to-play game.
Right.
Anthem you got to buy into.
But it's still a game as a service game.
And there's more content to buy.
Yeah. Like, Anthem is going to be largely the same model as Destiny. It's going to have a games-as-service style treadmill. It's going to have microtransactions. You can buy everything in it. And it's going to be all cosmetic, but they're still going to make money hand over fist.
Yeah.
Whereas Apex Legends has that $0 buy-in.
Yeah.
It's all free to play, you know, but still... it's going to probably eat into a large piece of their pie. So
the
timing is not great.
This is one of those things I always talk about, though, is that free-to-play shouldn't be a dirty word, but for the most part it is. But Apex Legends shows that free-to-play can work, and it can work very well.
Yeah. If you have a solid product, free-to-play works. The problem is largely what you see, like with mobile solutions.
Yeah.
Free-to-play means that... there's a timer on something. There's a cooldown on something, right? You can play this game for free, but you have to wait for 20 hours for an action to occur. But if you pay $1 now,
it'll be exciting and fun for the first 3 days,
right?
And then all of a sudden you get to X level, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you got to wait 48 hours for this thing to charge. You're like, oh, okay, well, delete.
Yeah, like at that point when you're waiting more for a game than you are playing the game, then it's wasting your time. You have to have a game that respects your time. Yeah. So anyway...
And Cash Family, that's what I meant by that. Free-to-play can be a dirty word because there's a lot of people who will release half-baked ideas or stuff that is pay to win or stuff that is behind paywalls or just completely broken unless you pay money to play it. And then it's just like, well, why did you bother?
Curiosity by Peter Molyneux.
Yeah.
I'm demonstrating the gameplay right here.
As you've shown, World of Tanks, Warhammer, Fortnite.
World of Tanks is still awesome.
Exactly. That's the thing.
Yes.
Those are what free-to-play should be.
Right. Right.
I'm honestly surprised that Rocket League hasn't gone free-to-play yet because it is so much on that train of like loot boxes now.
It's still pretty cheap.
Oh, I mean, it's cheap, but you're still paying anywhere from $15 to $20 to get it Canadian. So that one, they make so much money off keys and loot boxes now that they could easily offer that for free, and they would get a whole slew of new people in there.
So this is the funny thing, though. Executive producer of Apex Legends is Drew McCoy. He says... this is at the reveal event, back when they were talking about Apex Legends for the first time, literally like a week ago. Not to be throwing EA under the bus, but this wasn't the game they were expecting. So it wasn't just that they didn't know it was going to be a big thing. They didn't know what the game was.
Who knew?
I had to go to executives and show it to them and explain it, and not convince them, but more, hey, trust us, this is the thing you want out of us. As a corporation that can only quantify based on past data, and they've never done anything like this before. There's a giant rainbow question mark over revenue projections for this game. They're like, we don't know, we can't predict. This is a game we had to say, this is what we want to do, help us get there. They had no hand in development or anything about the game. So literally we're standing up Apex and we're standing up Anthem.
Yep.
And we're saying this Anthem game has this massive budget. It has BioWare behind it. It has all this marketing.
Yeah. It's been being built for the past fucking 5 years.
I would love to see at the end of the day that the cutaway view of how much money they made versus spent, like the actual revenue versus cost. And I bet you the returns on Apex Legends are going to be massive compared to Anthem.
Because it's half built on Titanfall 2 assets and shit like that.
Yeah.
It has one map. It has 8 characters. I guarantee they didn't spend 5 fucking years making it and have probably a quarter the size of the team working on it. So yeah, the difference is going to be like night and day. I guarantee it.
The question is, though, does it have longevity? Like, I think that's where Anthem probably has the
if they keep the
advantage.
content coming, it will. I guarantee that.
Maybe, but I mean, look at PUBG, right? I mean, Fortnite...
PUBG didn't change anything, though.
It changed some stuff, but, I mean, maybe not to
They
the
made
extent.
the game less broken as it went on. It still hasn't officially been released,
Anyway.
so there's that.
That's a different discussion.
They've added 2 maps.
Okay, yeah, but still, when you add a map in PUBG, it's not like you're adding a map to, like, Battlefield.
No, but my point is that you look at something like PUBG versus even Fortnite.
Yeah.
All of entertaining, hilarious seasons that we've seen, the ridiculous costumes,
Stupid
the events
cube,
that they have, the cube.
the portals.
Exactly. If
the bouncy lake.
If Apex does even half of what Fortnite's doing for making entertaining, updated content, they will survive.
But Anthem has flying mech suits. And it's flashy as fuck.
Yeah. And it also cost
$80
Canadian.
It does. It's not my thing in terms of a game as a service game, but if it was a single player game, I'd probably play the shit out of that.
Yep, exactly.
Now, if you are a Destiny player, or a Division player, or something like that, I imagine it's going to be a hard choice. You know, am I going to sink my time into a free-to-play game that's largely just Battle Royale, or Anthem, which is going to have story, it's going to have Flash, it's going to have support? You know, it's tough to say.
Quench is saying apparently you're afraid. I don't know what you're afraid of, but apparently you're afraid.
I'm not sure. What am I afraid of?
Playing Anthem? I don't know what he's afraid of.
Well, I'm afraid of playing Anthem because I do not want to get back on one of those Destiny-style treadmills.
Yeah.
So that's not so much afraid as I am, like, I've got other shit to do.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, and that was kind of the whole... When they first showed Anthem, I was just like, oh, cool. If it had single player, I'd probably play it. But yeah, when it came out, it was in the hotbed of like, oh, there's Destiny, Destiny 2. Yeah, they're making their own Destiny. So that makes sense.
Yep.
You know, on their end of things, they want their Destiny version. They want their slice of the pie. Fucking go for it. I ain't going to play it, though. So
Anthem comes out next Friday.
Yeah.
And we'll see then how things shape up then. But Mackie McCandish is the design director at Respawn. He says he's not concerned. He says, you know, that I think games come with all forms of entertainment, be it another battle royale, Netflix, tennis, or watching football, or even going out to hang out with your family, as entertaining as that can be anyway. He thinks that these two can coexist. I think that's a little bit optimistic that they're not going to cannibalize each other's sales, but we'll see.
It'll depend on how they shape up, too. Because, again, Apex is brand new.
Yep.
We have 8 players, 1 map, and it's a fresh thing. So who knows what's going to happen with it.
Okay, counting the 10 minutes that Jay Tanuki talked, we're in our last 20 minutes, so we got to pick up the pace here.
Well, we'll save our options menu for next week, then, and we will finish out the news.
We could just do the options menu. The news is basically done.
We have to think of those. We need to save them.
We're into the quick hits. Quick hits.
You insist on doing that.
I do. I want to have all of the little boxes checked. Otherwise, their bingo cards will not be full.
Oh, fuck their bingo cards.
Quick.
No one uses the bingo cards.
And that's why
they just wait for you to listen to virtual console complaints.
In the time we argued about this, we could have at least done them. So, quick hits. Very quick. Epic's Game Store, they were actually giving away Axiom Verge this week. Or actually last week.
Okay.
Which is a great game.
Yeah.
Played it on the PS4.
It's also about 8 years old now, I think.
It's still, I would say it stacks up today.
It's a good game, yeah.
So unfortunately, when it was ported over to the Epic Store, they broke it because they excluded all the Steam files.
Oh, fuck.
And in the third area, there are a bunch of Steam pipes. So like the sound effect that was labeled like Steam pipe.
Yeah.
they removed all the files labeled Steam. And then, so that file, when it looked for it, it wasn't there, crashed the game.
Oh.
So
I would imagine they fixed it by now, though.
yeah, they fixed it by now. But
Yeah.
here's the thing. This is the beautiful thing about this. I laughed so hard. Epic still doesn't have a forum to complain about stuff or talk about stuff.
Really?
So a bunch of people got together and crowdsourced the solution
Yeah.
on the Steam forums for Axiom Verge. Hysterical.
Hey, can we use your tree fort to talk business?
Hysterical. Pennsylvania lawmakers are trying to put forward a sin tax on violent games.
Yes, this.
They're calling it, and it's supposed to go to a fund called the Digital Protection for School Safety Account, because
Yeah.
violent video games cause school shootings, not guns.
I know. That's their strong belief
Yep.
there.
So they're talking about a tax on games that are mature or adults only. It would basically bring up the cost of the game by about $10 US. And they're all on about studies that show violence in video games, blah blah, all of which have been
all 2,000 of the
disproven.
people in the States that actually believe that.
The good news is that this same guy, this Chris Quinn guy, he's already tried to put forward this bill before and it was defeated.
I know. It's been defeated multiple times. It doesn't have legs. We went through this in the fucking 90s and it didn't go anywhere.
Either
So,
that or
like,
the ESA outspends him in court, which either way I'm fine with. But
it's either
so
way,
stupid.
it's ridiculous, it's hilarious,
Yeah.
and it's cute that they're trying, but it's not gonna fucking happen.
Jack Thompson says hi.
Yeah. You'll hang out in the bar with him.
No, he can't. He's been disbarred.
Oh no, just the real
get
bar.
Disbarred. Anyway, Level 5 and Warner Brothers announced that they are making a Ni no Kuni animated movie. It's coming out this summer.
I'm actually surprised that they followed through with that, because
Yeah.
they made the first game. And
Yeah.
I was like, well, this is gorgeous. Why is this not a movie? It should have like a tie-in thing or just like a retelling of it
Right.
in movie form. I guess they made 2 of them. It sold well enough. Now they're actually going to make a movie out of it. So what are they basing it on, though?
It's not based on the actual games. I think it's related to them, but not based on any of the events of the actual
It's on the
games.
same kind of world of,
Yeah.
of that.
So the president, actually, of Level 5, Akihiro Hino, he's actually acting as the general producer of the movie as well as writing the screenplay.
Okay.
And who's actually, which is great, former Studio Ghibli animator Yoshiyuki Momose is directing the movie.
Cool.
So the fact that they were only announcing it now, it's premiering in the summer, though, is a bit weird, but obviously they have people chained to their anime desks because apparently that's basically Foxconn in a nutshell.
Yeah.
But
It's unfortunate, but that seems to be the way things go.
they do look fantastic. Yet, I still say hashtag fuck Konami. Robert Bowling, a former creative strategist at Infinity Ward, has tweeted out recently, you're getting a modern shooter this year, don't worry, but you will never get Infinite Warfare 2.
You're gonna press F to pay respects.
F to pay respects. Absolutely. Infinite Warfare was such an underrated campaign. I nominated it for Best Story that year, a Call of Duty game.
Yep.
Best Story.
With Jon Snow at the helm.
Best Story for a Call of Duty game.
And I talked to him about this before the show. Ultimately, what it comes down to, they will do another future shooter that
Meh.
would probably fall right in the same vein as Infinite
another
Warfare,
Blops.
but it's not going to be called Infinite Warfare
It's gonna
because
be
that
another
has a stain on that name now.
Yeah, see? Best Story, this is how they repay you, Jack. Obviously, really. Thank you. Fucking
Well, why don't you
Ward.
shout it to the internet? I'm sure they'll listen.
old man shakes fist at Cloud. One thing we talked about back in November, we talked about how Square-Enix registered a trademark in Europe for Parasite Eve.
Right.
And nothing ever came of it and whatnot. So,
It was all hush-hush after
Right?
that.
but get this, very recently, they also registered the trademark in Great Britain, in the UK.
Okay.
So that's 2 instances now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, the original Parasite Eve never got released in Europe, so it might just be the original one again. But even that, if it's a remaster, I would love to see a Parasite Eve remaster.
And that's basically what I'm expecting. I'm not expecting a new game, especially
Right.
from that, because that is, of course, a
It's been
classic.
a long time,
but it's
too.
been a long fucking time.
Right.
And for them to just dive in and make a new one of those would be odd, to say the least.
Not that I wouldn't take it.
No, that's the whole thing. It's like I would totally be on board with one, but
Yeah.
I think it's not a tested name, especially in the current climate. So
Yeah.
a remaster, I think, is absolutely where it's at. if they could offer a remaster of both games on the same disc and sell it at, a discounted price, people go nuts for that, because again,
even individually, if it's remastered, I would absolutely pay like $20-$30, or if it's a full like Resident Evil, like a.
Well, yeah, I guess it depends on how much of a remaster was. If it was a ground up like Resident Evil 2 or whatever, then yeah, that would be a bit different.
I would absolutely pay AAA prices for that. So, I mean, if that's the case, I think that the reason it hasn't been so long, I think I was talking about this with Daniel on the Player's Guide.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's based on a Japanese novel, and there were some kind of rights issues for the longest time, which is which is why Parasite Eve 3 was just called The Third Birthday.
Yeah.
And didn't actually have the Parasite Eve brand. But now that they're re-registering it, this tells me more Parasite Eve. That's fantastic.
Throw some more money into it and actually just buy the fucking name and
where's the quick hit on Borderlands 3? Until I see something official, I am not giving them any more airtime. God damn it. Because I want to play Borderlands 3. I want them to say, yes, it is coming. I want them to say, yes, we've had some terrible games in the past, but don't worry about it. Borderlands 3.
Q4, Q1 next year.
Is it official?
Said in the next 12 months.
Is that official?
Is that official?
It was a quote.
Okay, in the next 12 months tells me nothing. That's like a Microsoft 2013 reveal number.
There's also somebody from PS4 Trophies now as a brand new leak.
Okay, well the Borderlands
Game of the Year.
Yeah, the Borderlands Game of the Year edition, that's been a badly kept secret.
It was leaked twice,
Yeah.
but now it was
Until
leaked again because someone found
there is an official trophy list on Exophase for it. That's coming.
No, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't really want to say much more on it until Randy Pitchford comes out on stage, throws up a teaser, and it blows the eyeballs out of my fucking head. Then that's like...
Yes.
Yeah.
It'll be the best Colonial Marines trailer I've ever seen.
Borderlands, not Colonial
Sorry.
Marines.
If we're talking about fake trailers, I naturally go to Blockbuster. I mean, GameStop. No. Regardless of Parasite Eve being a fantastic piece of news, I've got something even better for you.
Okay.
Just this week, Beamdog Entertainment has
Never heard of
announced...
them. Should I know who they are?
You will if you were a PC owner.
Okay.
They've announced for the very first time an unprecedented lineup of ports are coming to modern consoles.
Okay.
Beamdog games are actually, they made a bunch of these enhanced editions for the PC. They are bringing to console, and they haven't said which, but we're assuming PS4 and Xbox, possibly Switch.
I was going to say, those are consoles.
Here's the list. Baldur's Gate.
Okay.
Baldur's Gate 2. Baldur's Gate Siege of Dragonspear. Icewind Dale. Neverwinter Nights. And fucker of all fuckers, Planescape Torment. For the very first time on console.
Okay, so...
Planescape Torment is quite possibly the best role-playing game, largely considered the best role-playing game ever made.
Are they building them from the ground up, or are they literally porting like the old school
assuming,
PC versions of these?
I'm assuming they're based on the new enhanced editions that they've been recently releasing to like Steam and whatnot.
Yeah.
But even still, Planescape Torment, the new version, looks amazing.
Okay, because I was going to say, some of the older ones, like, I remember enjoying Baldur's Gate. Like, I enjoyed the hell out of that game. But thinking back to it now, it looks like Diablo 1. So it's not the prettiest game to look at anymore. So I'm wondering if they have, like, a...
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's going to be like...
Like a remastered version of it, or it's literally, hey, we made it work on a PS4. Here you go.
You know what? If they gave me the original version of Planescape Torment on the PS4, I'd totally buy that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh, don't worry, James Green. I won't accept anything from Randy Pitchford unless it's Borderlands 3.
Oh...
Not after Colonial Marines.
Remaster of Night into Dreams, only if it comes with that strangely round Saturn controller.
The one you can throw like a discus at your wall when you get pissed off when it doesn't work.
That was the very first analog controller for the Saturn, right?
I'm fully aware of that.
Back before they had the Dreamcast and everything else.
All right, Captain Quench, that'll never fucking happen.
What about Colonial? Oh, never say never again, my friend.
How about they make a fully functional game the first time out, and then we can talk about a second game.
Colonial Marines Remastered. Oh my god. All right, the big ticket.
More like Colon Marines.
Okay, so we're talking about Mackie McIntosh earlier about Titanfall. One thing to note, Mackie McIntosh, he was talking about Apex Legends. Someone asked about Titanfall, because Titanfall 3 was supposedly in production, and he was asked about it, and we talked about this last week. He paused, and his exact words were, This team's not actively developing.
Did he pause as if he was loading a comment? And...
Possibly. This team's not actively developing Titanfall 3.
Okay.
So last week, everyone was doom and gloom. I even accused Captain Quench of playing in the dismembered corpse of Titanfall 3.
A lot of people were in that kind of mode.
Like splashing around in the blood, all splish splash, I'm taking a bath. But here's the thing. The phrasing is this team, not we, not Respawn, this team. And now that we know Respawn has 2 teams.
Has been split into 2, yeah.
Right? So last week, Respawn Entertainment CEO Vince Zampella, he actually came out and he said publicly on Twitter, there's more to the story. He says, tons of things planned for at Play Apex in the future. We are also committed to listening to player feedback. We are also working on more Titanfall for later in the year. Yes, I said the T word. We love being able to experiment in this crazy universe. So that's great. That's encouraging. But the final nail in the coffin is on the same EA quarterly earnings call, Andrew Wilson, who's the EA CEO, he confirmed that Respawn is going to be releasing a new premium Titanfall game later this year, and that it will be an exciting twist on the Titanfall formula. So whether it's a spin-off like Apex Legends is or what, I mean...
Oh, there you go. You got Captain
Crunch there. We're going to get Titanfall 3. No, I will not shut my mouth, dude. Maybe it's not going to be Titanfall 3. Maybe it's another spin on Titanfall. What if, just speculating, based on nothing, what if we got like an Armored Core game style Titanfall game?
I'm honestly all in for anything that is first-person shooter with the Titanfall mechs, whatever they want to do with that.
Was it past your bedtime? I played Titanfall 2. It was a great game. I love that game. It's just giving me shit. God damn it. Chromehounds.
Oh, Chromehounds. Oh, what a beautiful disaster that game was.
Where's the one that had the massive console? Was that...
It was Steel Battalion.
Steel Battalion.
It had nothing to do with Armored Core.
No. It was a sim game. It was like Mech Warrior.
It was a hardcore Mech Warrior game that was almost impossible to play.
Maybe for you, sir. I would absolutely take that.
No, I have literally watched 20 YouTube videos of people operating that thing. And they say it's one of the most ball-crushingly hard games to play.
You know what?
It has nothing to do with the controller.
But
it's just they made it gratuitously hard.
No. I played it back in the day. I would absolutely, if it wasn't like stupidly expensive to buy, I would absolutely get it and play it now. Because, I mean, I love mech games.
It's also glass in the eyes now, because I went back to... Because again, the controller was always really cool.
Right.
I looked at the game like, oh god, that has aged the worst. I would rather play Armored Core 1 on PS1 than look at that game.
Which still holds up. But anyway, long story short, yeah, of course, you saw my review for it. I love that game. Anyway, I mean, granted, Titanfall 2 wasn't as good as you said it was, but it was still really good. It was a little too much... it needed a bit more... and less sappy kind of big thumb in the lava ending.
It had single player, so I was on board.
Right? And you know what? EA probably thinks single player ruined that game.
Yep.
Maybe not because they gimped the multiplayer.
They never learned their fucking lesson.
No, they keep learning the wrong fucking lesson.
Yeah.
Anyway, so long story short, there's something Titanfall coming, whether it's the first game remastered or a Titanfall Tactics, which I'd still fucking play. It's something.
Well, because they've already said that Apex Legends kind of takes place in the Titanfall universe. It's just not a Titanfall title. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just released a bigger version of Apex Legends with a, single-player campaign of some kind of thing tacked onto it.
I don't think they would go to the trouble of, like, differentiating it from Apex Legends only to come back and say it's just a spin-off of that.
The Apex Legends, a Titanfall story, and they just cram the two of them together and they add mechs into Apex Legends. And I'm like, yep, that's it, I'm done. I'm just going to play this.
We'll see. I mean, I'm just interested to see them do something else in the Titanfall universe and not have them just kill Respawn like every other studio that EA consumes.
They can't get rid of them now. They made Apex Legends. They're going to make money off of them.
You know what was weird? In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, like, when I saw that one of their studios is doing action-adventure games, I was like, what would a Respawn version of Dead Space look like?
Oh, God. It would be a completely different beast.
I'm okay with that. Dead Space, fuckers! Anyway. All right. We have 5 minutes. New Game Plus.
You really want to waste this?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Ugh, you're breaking my balls here, man. Okay.
It's time to press the button.
Okay, do it. I don't fucking care. Let's do this.
Yes! Time to press select in the options menu. And of course, Dandr0id is, as always, very excited to do the options menu.
I love the options menu. If we have time to do it, we are 20 minutes over. I want to go to fucking bed.
5 minutes.
Someone has to wake up at 5:30 in the morning. You fuck.
5 minutes. Drink your fucking puppers. Get him a puppers.
I already finished it.
Did you? All
Yeah.
right. So, every week we do one of our rotating topics. This week is New Game Plus. Games that we return to over and over again to play because they're awesome. They're comfort foods. They're security blankets. What is your New Game Plus, Dandr0id?
It's the Ratchet and Clank series.
Amazing.
Yes.
What's your favorite one of that series?
Well, it's definitely one of the PS2 ones, because
Really?
the PS3 ones got really gaudy with their storylines.
I don't know. Tools of Destruction, I really liked.
And that's the thing. Not that it's not a solid game,
Yeah.
like mechanic-wise.
Yeah.
Just the story goes a little bit haywire. Because I've been watching a bunch of videos because I'm going back in to play them.
Yeah.
But I was watching all these kind of like full, like laid out reviews of here's the first 3 games, here's
Yeah.
like the second trilogy, like all this.
Yeah.
And going through and made me realize, like, this is why I didn't jive with the PS3 ones so much, is because they took these amazing characters that they built up from nothing.
Right.
And they had this amazing, like, zero to hero type of storyline in the first trilogy. And the second trilogy, they throw that right the fuck out the window, and they're just like, hey, guess what? Ratchet is actually this, the last of his race, and he's this crazy good hero guy. Oh, yeah, and then Clank, yeah, he's not just a reject robot. He's actually, this, special...
Secret Agent Clank?
No, not Secret Agent Clank, but he gets... His soul was actually made by this special time robot of this universal clock, and he's actually the caretaker of that.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden you throw together this last hero of his race and this special time wizard robot, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, they didn't meet by chance. Give it up. Like,
Yeah.
that shit's broken.
Into the Nexus, and I don't remember what the time-based one was.
That was a crack in time. That
Crack in
was
Time,
like the end of the trilogy for the PS3.
I didn't they were both okay games. I didn't much really like them. I will admit, though, that the time-based puzzles in A Crack in Time were really well thought
That's
out.
the thing. They were great puzzles. It was just really unfortunate that they had to cram the storyline in there just to get that to make sense,
Right.
when they could have really just be like, hey, let's go on an adventure to this universe clock that we, Dr. Nefarious is trying to take over.
Yeah.
I would have been fine with that. I don't need a reason to fucking go there outside of, hey, the bad guy's doing stuff.
But I really did like Tools of Destruction. I thought that Tools of Destruction was like a high
like
watermark for the series.
out of that trilogy, the
Yeah.
PS3 trilogy, Tools of Destruction was by far the best because they didn't go
Yeah.
too ham on the story for that one.
No.
But honestly, I loved the original trilogy just because everything was making fun of like greed and corporations and
Right.
stuff, because no matter what was going on, everyone had this like satirical view of the world and give me money because you get nothing for free in those fucking games. Even if they found something that you had, they were like, oh yeah, you can have it back for 20,000 bolts, and like everything was consumerism, and it was amazing.
Slim Cognito.
Yeah, they just did such a good job. Like, it was so tongue in cheek, and it was so on point with their kind of dry wit humor and everything that I really dug those ones.
The reboot was really fantastic as well.
It was okay.
It was fantastic.
No,
Shut it.
no, mechanically, it was fantastic. It looked gorgeous, and it played really well. Outside of that, the story, they made it so drab and dry compared to the... Okay.
Oh, the first one, if you go back and play it now, it is so randomly disjointed where it's like, at one moment, this
is exactly why I didn't want to get into this right now.
Okay, fair enough.
I've already had 5 minutes.
Okay, I will give you your 5 minutes.
I'm going to send you a video that will explain my issue with it.
We will yell at each other on tweet. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow for 4 jerks yelling. We'll talk about Ratchet and Clank. I'm sure Gary will take a strip off you. Okay, so my 5 minutes, my New Game Plus.
You get 2 minutes. I need to go to bed.
2 minutes it is. We were talking yesterday on the PlayStation Unchained podcast about how... Agents of Mayhem just went horribly off the rails, right? It was like Saints Row's answer to Overwatch, which was just a terrible meshing of genres. And it just made me think about how Saints Row as a concept started off as a GTA clone and just morphed into its own thing.
Like a hard GTA clone.
Like a hard GTA clone. Like the original one, it was still kind of tongue-in-cheek. They had like the drive-through confessional that abolished your stars.
Yep.
And then they had freckle bitches. That was still in the original one. They had the poured a 40 to revive your guy.
Grand Theft Auto always had a few tongue-in-cheek moments, but it was more serious at the start too. But
I mean, granted, it wasn't dildo bats and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's
but
the thing, is they really found their way
Right.
after the second and the third one.
at least the second one. The third one, I think, went a little bit too far, and then they they corrected it in 4 by going even further over the top, which somehow made it better. I don't understand it.
I'll never understand your theory on that.
Like 3, it's like
no,
3
we
is just
talked
too
about
much.
it. No, I just
So anyway,
carry on.
So Saints Row 2 will always be one of my favorite of that series. I want them to remaster it. They had a part of it in Saints Row 4 where they like went back in, not in time, but there was like a simulation.
Yeah.
And it was amazing to see like Stillwater. Stillwater was the original one. Stillwater, like in high def, like in back at that time, it was PS3, then they had the PS4 version, looked amazing. Saints Row 2, I want them to go back and do a proper next generation Saints Row game and not just Agents of Mayhem, which was not a great game at all.
It's going to be a tough sell at this point, I think.
They can figure it out. I mean, if Devil May Cry can have a game past the end of 2, Saints Row can figure their shit out.
That's because it cost them nothing and it made almost no blip on the radar.
Devil May Cry or Saints Row?
Devil May Cry 2.
Oh, well, that's not a great ending, but it's like it wrecked the continuity forever.
It almost didn't taint it because nobody even took it seriously and nobody bought it, so it's almost like it didn't even exist.
They need to treat Saints Row, like Devil May Cry 2 like Highlander 2, and we don't talk about the planet Zeist and the aliens.
You can literally buy the HD remaster of all the Devil May Cry games, or the first 3 anyways. Nobody even acknowledges that 2 exists. Even when I've been watching review videos of people going through the history of these trilogies and stuff like that, I came to a couple of Devil May Cry, and out of a 30 to 45 minute video, they mentioned Devil May Cry 2 like 2 or 3 times, and that's just to reference it, and that's it. They don't even go through what the story is or what happened or anyway that. Nobody even talks about that game, so it just doesn't exist.
They need to retcon it like they fixed their continuity with Mortal
Kombat. They don't
have to
retcon it because it doesn't exist.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm happy with that because the new Devil May Cry looks awesome.
Yes.
So. All right, so that is our very abbreviated options menu for this week. We talked about EA for far too long. For a low news week, we had a lot of discussion there, a lot of good discussion. So thanks to everyone in the chat. We appreciate you all for stopping by. Some old friends and new friends, and had a beer with us. Thank you very much for coming by. If you want to reach out to us and let us know what you think, you can talk to us on Twitter at @digital_fiasco. We appreciate to hear your questions, your comments, things you think we could do better, things you'd like to see, stuff in the options menu, games you want to talk about, or just, shoot the shit. If you think Letterkenny is awesome, please reach out to me so that I can throw it in Dandr0id's face.
Yep, just keep cramming that down there.
Goddamn
that'll
right I
help me
will.
watch the fucking show.
It doesn't matter. The point is that people should like it because it's awesome. In any case, tune in tomorrow where we will be doing a test, I believe. It's either going to be a test of 4 Jerks Yelling, or it's going to be me streaming, I think, Genesis Alpha 1.
Well, what's one jerk yelling at a game?
One jerk yelling at a game is just me streaming in general.
That's it.
Yeah,
just title the stream that.
Yeah, this Wednesday, Player's Guide Live is back for their semi-weekly show. They'll be talking about, I think it's going to be, I don't recall what they said there was going to be. I think they said it was going to be possibly Kingdom Hearts again.
I mean, I'm not surprised. It has a gigantic fucking story to it, and I'm sure there's still fallout from the third game and the finality of it.
Last week, I literally put on a pair of headphones and was playing something else, so I did not hear them talk about it, because I'm still in the first game, right? I realize that the games are like 20 goddamn years old, but I'm late to the series. So in any case, Wednesday at 7 p.m., Player's Guide Live. They'll be back again. And of course, Thursday, Comic Sans at its new time, 7 p.m. Central Time. They'll be talking about, I don't know what this week. Probably how Star Trek Discovery doesn't suck anymore.
It's possible.
It's shocking. It's actually decent as a Star Trek show.
Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts.
So far, 4 shows. We'll see. Anyway. We appreciate y'all coming by. Thanks very much for everyone stopping by. You can check out our archive on YouTube. You'd see that down at the bottom in part of the trailer there. Check out our articles on psu.com and check out other members of the Shinzi team, which we will be bumping to someone, whoever's online, at the end of our show tonight. Anyway, we appreciate you all coming out. Have a good night. For Digital Fiasco, I'm Jack McBastard.
And I'm Dandr0id.
And thank you for this very, very long Digital Fiasco Live, episode 57. Have a good night, folks.
See ya.